Welcome back to another one-man only rebuild here, where I start with one superstar and build a team all the way from the ground up until we win a World Series. Now, last time I did Tarek Skubal and the Tigers, and this time we're working with Juan Soto and the Mets. As you can see, my version of the Mets roster has Juan Soto, but every other player is a Joe Random with 1 overall and 0 stats. So this is our starting place, and here are the rules to a one-man only rebuild if you want to try this for yourself. Number 1, of course, the one man that you start with has to stay on the team. I can't turn around and trade Juan Soto. The good news is, for me, is he's already extended for a very long time. However, $51 million per year is a ton. That is eating up a lot of our budget. Rule number 2, no limits in the amateur or Rule 5 drafts. You can take as many players as you want. Rule number 3, I'm limited to 3 free agents per offseason. That doesn't mean I go sign the 3 highest free agents in the league. They probably aren't going to want to join this team anyway because we're going to be really bad. It would also be very hard to do that anyway with our budget, as I've only got $109 million and Soto is taking up half of that. And lastly, no trades. It's too easy to take advantage of the CPU, so I'm just taking that out entirely. If you enjoyed this rebuild, please consider subscribing. Much more content on the way, and I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs before MLB the Show 26 drops next year. I would be very surprised if we win any games here in Season 1 as we open up against Houston. Juan Soto's going to have to go absolutely nuts if that's going to happen, and some Joe Randoms are going to have to chip in as well, especially on the pitching side. So I'll really be focusing on scouting and drafting during this year. That is the most important thing, as here's a 3-2 pitch to Soto, and he draws a walk. We're going to see a lot of those, I would imagine. And as you can see, our Joe Random on the mound has already given up 3 base runners and 3 runs, and it's going to be a long day. At least Juan Soto gets himself an opening day home run. That was smoked into right. We would go on to lose 11-3 with Soto driving in all 3 of our runs. Now, one thing I did for this video that I did not do for the Skubal one-man only is I actually sprinkled some of the Mets' best players onto other teams before I replaced the rest with Joe Random. So, for example, Francisco Lindor, I put on the Guardians. I put Pete Alonso on the Orioles since that already happened in real life. I also put Edwin Diaz on the Dodgers since that happened in real life. And I essentially made all the other guys on the roster free agents so that anybody could go ahead and pick them up. I also uploaded this roster to the Vault. If you want to try this on your own, just go to Create in the top right and go to Vaults. And then on the rosters page, search Soto only, and you'll see it right there by high and deep. Now, unfortunately, in year 1 here, the Mets pick at number 28, so we're not going to be able to get any of these good position players at the top of the board. And I think I'm going to start with this first baseman, Vincent Yang, ranked 37th, who has great contact and overall has very nice plate skills. And as always, I will scout and discover starting pitchers by region. Unfortunately, after just 1 week, it looks like Yang is a bust. He's fallen down the board. And meanwhile, we discovered the 9th ranked pitcher in the class, although he does look too good to be true. In week 5, I found a high potential catcher who looks to have great defense and some nice contact, and thankfully we also discovered a starting pitcher ranked 17th, who I think is probably going to be really good. Let's move our starting pitcher scout over to Central so we can find out. As I was anticipating, Moses has started to move up the board, now ranked 10th. John Nash might be okay, and he does have the build that I like with high hits per 9 and walks per 9. And I also found a couple starters, Brooks Huerta and Dave Knapp, who have guaranteed high potential. But more exciting than that is we just discovered the 4th ranked player in the class, shortstop Henry Matsui. Hopefully he's good. I'll look at his profile after I finish looking at Russell Pohl, who I think is going to be a power-hitting first base gem. Meanwhile, we still have yet to win a game, currently 0-52 on the season. Good news is that Soto's having a pretty good season with 14 home runs so far and a .913 OPS. And check out the ERAs of our pitchers, 21, 19, 25, 22, and 12. Matsui looks like a good athlete, but his potential range is pretty low, and he's going to be defensive and speed first. Might be a good mid-round option or a backup for the first round. Time for the first draft of the video, and I didn't find any position players that completely knocked my socks off. Henry Matsui is the highest ranked guy that I've got, but he's the discovery, so I'm hesitant to take him in the first round. I also have second baseman Justin Brown, as well as catcher Tyler Gleason, who look like good options. Both Russell Pohl and Willie Ramirez are gems that moved way up the board. And then I've got some later round, older, guaranteed high potential players that I might take as well. Don't be surprised if I take a pitcher in the first round, because guys like Edgar Gomez and Fernando Segura might be too hard to pass up. My best two discovery pitchers are Jeremy Padiachuk, ranked 11th, and Moses Austin, who we've seen. But since we pick at 28th, I just need to get this started and see who's left for me. Looks like the only guy we're going to miss out on is Edgar Gomez, who frankly might have been my first round pick. He looks really good. I think my best bet is to go with Gleason because good catchers can be hard to find, and he's got that guaranteed high potential range. He's going to be my first overall pick of this video. Simming ahead to the next pick, I did lose some of my favorite players, including Justin Brown and Brooks Huerta, who looks really good. I think there's a good chance that at least one of these good pitchers falls to the next round, as well as some of my gem position players, so I think I want to take Henry Matsui here. He projects to be an athlete with probably mid-B potential. Austin, Nash, and Prater are still here. I do really want to take at least one of Austin or Nash. So hopefully they fall to the next round, but I think I need to take Russell Pohl here, the power-hitting first baseman who is probably going to have high A potential. For pick 127, I am going to go with the scientist John Nash here. I like that he might be able to start in the majors next year, and we're going to have a lot of guys to fill out. We're going to need a lot of guys to fill out our lineup and pitching rotation. Austin's still here, so let's take him for our next pick. And now my board is empty, so we're going to have to take a flyer on somebody. I'm not a big fan of Brian Stephens. I don't really like his build. And Elton Stoitsiadis fell down the board. He was higher ranked when I first discovered him. So I don't think he's that good, and I'm going to go with this starting pitcher, Luis Ramirez, who is probably just okay, and that'll finish out this draft. I didn't know this was possible. We don't have any representatives in the All-Star game. I thought at least one player from each team had to be there, but as I get to right field, you can see that Soto's not here. Soto is having a pretty good year, so I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't selected, but it might be because of the RBI since these Joe Randoms don't really get on base for him. Probably the most important part of this season, let's view our draft picks, and that is a little bit disappointing. We did get two high potential players in Tyler Gleason and Russell Pohl. I'm happy with that, and Gleason is 62 overall. He probably needs 2 to 3 years to develop before he can become our everyday catcher. I thought Matsui might have 85 or 86 potential, and 82 is a little bit disappointing, but he's still not bad. He'll be on a similar timeline with Gleason since he's 61 overall, and now we take a look at Russell Pohl, who has 94 potential, 56 overall, and does project to have nice power. I meant to nickname John Nash the mathematician, not the scientist, and I kinda got what I wanted with him, but with only 81 potential, that's a little disappointing. However, he can start in the majors next year. 85 potential for Moses Austin, not bad, just the hits per 9 are a little low. And Luis Ramirez is probably just going to be depth in the farm system. Jose Encarnacion was on my board. I wish I could have got him. He has 99 potential. And I'm pretty sure I called out Del Villar, Huerta, and Knapp, who were all on my board, and all three look amazing, and all three went to the same team, the Rockies. Not the best draft, not the worst draft. Let's sim to the end of this season. 0 and 162. Wow. Now that was expected and good for our draft opportunity next season. Positively, Juan Soto had a pretty good year, lost some contact but added some power and defense, and he had an 894 OPS, which is a little bit low for him. He actually really struggled to walk this year. He's usually around 18 or 20%, which is exceptional, and he only put up 4.4 WAR. Good news for him is there's going to be other players on the team next season. The Astros managed to take down the Cubs in the 2025 World Series. Yes, I know this 2025 season is over, but I want to get this extra year. I don't want to just sim through a season for nothing. As always, I lost a ton of my Joe Randoms to retirement due to ability, so I'm going to have to fill out the roster with a lot of new guys. Let's start the offseason by adding John Nash to the 40-man roster and moving him into the MLB for next year. I'm going to put our other two starter draft picks into Class A for now. This way they don't play any games and they can just improve on their own for a year. Somehow we had a starter last year that was so bad he was actually good, a .17 ERA. Obviously this is a glitch. He pitched 156 innings and gave up 273 hits, 59 home runs, and 203 walks. As we go into free agency, I actually have more money available than I thought. Thanks to the revenue sharing, we've got some cushion here with $93 million available. The first guy I'm interested in is catcher Danny Jansen, who might not sign with us because we're bad, but it would be great because he can give us some time for our prospect to develop. It's an even bigger long shot, but first basemen are cheap in this game, so let's throw Josh Naylor on the board. He's really good in this roster. If we can't get Naylor, I've got a cheaper option that I like a lot here, which is Ty France, who's got room for growth here and is only asking for about $6 million per year. Jansen is interested right away, so I'm not going to waste any time and offer him exactly what he wants. And while we wait for Jansen, let me move Ty France to the number 1 spot because I do want to sign him, and I'm not sold on Naylor. Michael King just got $41 million a year for 8 years at 30? Okay. He is really good and underrated, but he is very injury prone, although in MLB the Show, injuries are not that common. And it looks like Naylor's coming off the board really quick here, which makes sense. I am not going to offer him a deal. And he's going to the Dodgers. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because they already have Freddie Freeman, but I guess the Dodgers will sign anybody. As far as our guy, Danny Jansen, he's coming over to New York. And now we finally have a second position player to join Juan Soto. As you can see, I've got a lot of people to sign to fill out the rest of this team. How about Brendan Rodgers, who has good contact and good enough defense to play shortstop, which is a premium position? Both of these guys are showing some interest, but there's not many other teams interested in them, so I'm going to risk it and leave them on the board for a little bit longer. And while we wait, let me throw Yoan Moncada on the board, who last season put up a career-high 4 WAR. I've already signed Jansen, so I can't get all 3 of these guys, but I can at least get 2 of them. The biggest free agent available is going to our division. Kyle Tucker's headed to the Phillies. That could happen in real life. I really want the first pick, but anything in the top 3, I'd be satisfied with, and we go down to 4th. The Red Sox went up 15 spots. And after that, it's now time for the Rule 5 draft, which is going to be very busy for us. I need roughly 20 players here, and the first guy that I want to take is starting pitcher Javier Assad, who's on a cheap deal this year and has more team control after it. My next pick is going to be Weston Wilson, who honestly might have the best bat in this entire draft, which is kind of concerning. And like I said, I've got to pick about 20 players, so I'll get back to you when I'm done with that. And after that draft, we've got a full pitching rotation and bullpen with Javier Assad as our ace, the knuckleballer Matt Waldron as our second starter, and then Urquidy, the rookie Nash, and Brian Hoeing, who is actually a reliever, will fill out the rest of the rotation. I managed to find a few lefties for the bullpen, and I think the most notable pick here is Anthony Banda, who I'm surprised was available. Pretty much all of these guys have mid to high C potential with some team control. I'll show you the lineup in a little bit. For now, I am going to offer Ty France a deal, and I'm going to go up to 3 years, but I'm going to lowball him as much as I can for $4.8 million. Ty France, not interested and not happy about it. There's nobody else interested in him, so beggars can't be choosers here. I'm going to lowball him again. Second time's the charm. There we go. There's some competition for Moncada. Let's go ahead and lowball him as well, as low as I can possibly go. Might not be a good idea, but for me it's kind of a toss-up between him and Rodgers, so I'm not too worried if he doesn't like that. And he decided to go to Detroit. That makes my decision easy. It's going to be Brendan Rodgers, who actually now has some interest from the White Sox, but I am still going to lowball him, although I will give him an extra year in the deal. And he is coming to the Mets. It ain't much, but it's honest, okay? Here's our lineup going into next year with our 3 free agents at the top, as well as Juan Soto, and then we fill it out with Rule 5 pickups, starting with Nick Prado or Prado. He's got a little bit of pop, especially against lefties. He'll be DHing. Weston Wilson at third. Mentioned he's got probably the best bat that was available in the Rule 5. Good positional flexibility. The firecracker himself here, Drew Gilbert, coming in to play some outfield. And then I went with Stuart Baroa in center. Went purely defense here. Purely defense, I think he'll be okay. And lastly, Tanner Murray, who is a low overall, but good defense, good contact, high C potential. I think all these guys really had mid to high C potential. So what this is really about is who is going to develop and become part of this team going forward. Juan Soto will be making as much as the other 89 guys on this roster next season combined. We're at a nice lean $102 million for payroll. I didn't want to go too crazy this year. I want to leave room for future years. New year, new lineup, new me, new Mets. I can't guarantee much for this season, but I can guarantee we will not be going 0-162. Looks like we're projected for 67 wins, so I'll set that as our goal. With Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phils, though, I don't know if we're getting one today. And our protagonist, Juan Soto, back in the 3-hole. 12th pitch of the at-bat on the way from Sanchez is line to first. Unfortunately, Christian Scott was not on the board, so the next best option for our aces here is Javier Assad from the Rule 5. 2-strike pitch here to Trey Turner is popped up, and there is out number 1 to Juan Soto. And if you're wondering, this is what a real lineup looks like. With 2 down now, Bryce Harper at the plate, and he grounds out to first. It's a clean first. Our biggest free agent signing was Danny Jansen, who I believe was the #1 catcher free agent available, so nice to get him on the Mets, but he strikes out to start the year. Top of the 6th, 1 out, still scoreless here on opening day. Soto at the plate, 3-2 pitch on the way, and he stares at it. Good pitch. And that'll bring up Danny Jansen once again, who gets a pretty good pitch to hit, 94 miles an hour off the bat, into right, caught just in front of the wall. And that's Kyle Tucker, by the way. So far, Assad's gone toe-to-toe with one of the best pitchers in the league. Schwarber does get the Phillies on the board, though, here in the 7th with a solo homer. It's 1-0. We're in the top of the 9th now, still down 1. Soto again, strikes out. Duran's really good. He is throwing absolute missiles, but misses on that one. That's a walk for Jansen. Ty France with a chance to do something special here. He's going to ground a second, diving play from Stott, and that's going to do it. I think a lot of our games this year are going to look like this. Very little offense, but decent pitching. Just like that, we're off and running for Season 2, hoping to beat our projection of 67 wins. Now, we do get a high draft pick this year, picking at number 4, and by the looks of it, we're either going to get a starter, or more likely than that, we're going to get some kind of outfielder. There's a lot of good options here, and I think at least one of these guys might be generational, so I might end up scouting quite a lot of them. I'm going to start with Brian Bai because he looks a lot like David Chon from my Louisville Long Balls video, and he was generational. Couple of weeks into the year here, we're 7-7, 500 start to the season, not bad. Some good signs here early in the bullpen, but I also see our rookie starter John Nash with a 2.55 ERA through his first 3 starts. And I was very wrong about Brian Bai, he has fallen way down the board. I also scouted 21-year-old shortstop Greg Whitman, who looks to have elite defense and speed, but the hitting stats are not great. He should have high potential though, so he might be another first-round option. I started looking a little later in the class and I found Tom Zimmer here, who's moved up the board a little bit, and he has very promising power. We've had some pitchers rise up the board as well, and I do really like Antonio Vasquez, so that is another first-round option. After another week, Zimmer didn't move up as far as I thought, only to 32nd, but maybe we can get him with our round 2 pick, which is number 40. That is his draft rank from the MLB. Thanks to a good pitching staff, we're not in last right now, but we are still ranked 30th by the CPU. Our relievers have continued to stay very good. We've got a few guys under a 2 ERA, more guys under a 3 ERA, and John Nash continues to deal in his rookie season. Found another good college player here with high potential, Felipe Ramirez, but he's kind of in the middle of our pick, so not sure if I'm going to take him early or if he's going to fall. Another decent option, though, with great contact. Meanwhile, Discovery starting pitcher Zach Rodriguez looks really good. We also discovered a second baseman here, Rodney Montero, who does seem to have great contact, but I'm not sure about his profile. I'm going to go ahead and scout him. About what I expected here with Montero, he's got a high floor and probably has mid-C potential, but he does have great contact. I've not found many good discovery options, though, on the pitching and the offensive side. A lot of guys are looking like this, and Howell might be the worst prospect I've ever seen. Having a very tough May here now, slipping way under 500. We've only got 4 wins through the first 3 weeks, 29-48, and now we are in last. Tanner Murray's only had 30 at-bats, so Juan Soto continues to be our best hitter, but an 884 OPS is really not that good for him. He's up to 99 overall. Ty France is doing okay, but haven't exactly seen breakouts from anybody, and both Brendan Rodgers and Danny Jansen are struggling. Maybe the worst thing about sucking in this type of rebuild is I can't trade any of our good players away for prospects. But I can scout for them, and I do think that Henry Eckert is going to be a nice late-round gem at short. Jury is still out on DeYoung, and I've started to scout some closers. Alton Hagen is a miss, but I did find a couple of decent options. Eckert did not move up the board like I thought. DeYoung looks okay, and Robbie Adams is still not ranked. I showed a lot of my scouting this year because that's pretty much the only interesting thing going on during this season, and here we are at the draft. I didn't end up finding anybody generational, which is kind of a bummer, but I think my favorite player that I did find is 21-year-old shortstop Greg Whitman with that great defense and speed. If I can't get him, my backup is going to be Felipe Ramirez with high potential and great contact. I really like him, even though he's only ranked 30th. That is extremely underrated. We've only got to wait for 3 other picks, so I'm very curious to see what the CPU does here. And in the first round, it is a bad pick by the Red Sox. Pick number 2, Johnny Moss. And number 3 overall is J.J. Shepard. All 3 of these guys, I think, blew it on bad starters. There's a very small chance that Ramirez might fall to our 40th pick. Probably not likely, but I'd rather play those odds and just guarantee Greg Whitman here, who I know is not going to fall and is going to play an elite shortstop someday. Felipe did not fall. He got taken 27th. I might end up regretting this one. I also lost out on Tom Zimmer here, who got taken 36th. But somehow Antonio Vasquez, who I thought about taking in the first round, is still here. Unless my scout screwed this up, this feels like an amazing pick. And of course, Rodney Montero gets taken 77th. We pick at 78. I lost both the closers that I might have taken here, so I'm going to go with the guaranteed high potential second baseman, Herb Fox. For pick 108, I want to grab my best Discovery starting pitcher here, Zach Rodriguez. Unfortunately, he's going to have low hits per 9, but he should be pretty good. Let's take a flyer on a catcher here for our second to last pick. The reason I want to take Boston here is if you ever see zeros or ones in somebody's profile, there's a good chance they're actually a late round gem. And now I'll finish things out here with our Discovery right fielder, Ruben DeYoung. Right field's absolutely loaded, and this time Juan Soto did make it into the All-Star game. He's having a good year, better than last year so far, but still nothing crazy. Actually playing our best baseball here at the end of July. We've gone on a 6-game winning streak going into August 1st, and you know what that means. It's time to view our draft picks. Let's see how we did. That's a lot of blue. Cannot go wrong with Greg Whitman here in round 1, 91 potential, 64 overall, 21 years old. Shortstop, second base, third base. Defense and speed are really nice. I think the hitting stats will round out to where he's a 700, 710 OPS guy, which is fine. Shortstop is an expensive position in free agency and premier for defense, so this is a good pick in my opinion. I can't believe we were able to get Vasquez with our second pick here. 89 potential, 63 overall at 18 years old. Good hits per 9, good walks per 9, projects as a future ace. Herb Fox does have 88 potential, which unfortunately is the bottom of his range, and 51 overall at 22. We'll give him the time to develop, but if he makes it to the show, he won't be there for long. We got a great Discovery starter here, Zach Rodriguez with the 4th pick. Should be solid. Hits per 9 is the only thing that might hold him back. And as I said, if you see somebody with zeros for their range, this game's never going to generate someone with zero. So I took Roy Boston here, 54 overall with 93 potential. We'll see how long he takes to develop. And our only miss really is Ruben DeYoung here, 79 potential, 54 overall. Again, let's let him develop. Can't trade anybody, so we'll see how he does in the farm system. If you took the under on 67 wins, you can cash your bet. We only had 63 here in year 2. 37 games out of the division, but we're actually pretty close to the Nationals. They are struggling. We also finished better than the Rockies, so we were not the worst team in the NL. Matter of fact, we were the 4th worst team, as we also beat the Angels and White Sox. Soto did get 41 homers and 96 RBIs, so that's good, but the total body of work, 887 OPS, I expect a little bit better than that. Again, his walk rate is quite a bit lower than in real life. I don't know exactly what that is. I mean, his discipline is maxed out. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Juan Soto is one of the players that seems to regress really early in MLB the Show franchise, and you can see some -1s here. I can't say just yet. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Our best out of the Rule 5 guys was Nick Pratto, who was our DH. Improved a lot of contact, and overall just got better. We'll definitely bring him back next year. Ty France was solid with a 780 OPS, and he improved a lot. Danny Jansen, though, was kind of disappointing. Hopefully he can turn it around over the next 2 years. By far the most disappointing guy, though, was Brendan Rodgers. He had a nightmare season with a 596 OPS. And although a lot of our Rule 5 guys did improve, which is good to see, nobody really stood out at all. It's a lot easier to find good pitching than it is good hitting, just generally speaking, and we do have some guys we'll want to build around, especially Max Lazar, who really impressed me. I also had him in the closing role for quite a while, and he went 30-3. Assad was our best pitcher, followed closely by Urquidy. Waldron was kind of disappointing, and John Nash got worse as the year went on, but it was his rookie season. He obviously projects well with this stat layout. Simming to the offseason, and the Dodgers take down the Royals in the 2026 World Series. The Royals are on the come-up. Watch out for them in real life next year. Lots more Joe Randoms decided to retire, all pitchers, which is interesting. Besides the scouting part, I went through that season pretty quick. There was not a whole lot to see other than that. Let's focus on another offseason here and try to build a team that could at least finish at 500. Besides our backup catcher, Eric Haas, all of these ARB guys are going to get a contract, and I'm going to give 2 years to Javier Assad. It's about $6 million a year after last season. That feels like a great deal. I found our 2025 All-Star. Not sure why I didn't see this guy. Maybe I just totally missed it. Yep, Joe Random. He played 67 games with a 285 OPS. Super uninspiring free agent class here at first glance. I looked through all the positions already and there's not a lot to like. I'm right now considering bringing in Nick Senzel. We'd be sacrificing a lot of defense, but we very much need to improve offensively, and he looks like he can crush lefties. I'm going to throw him on the board for now. Now, there's some amazing starters available like Tarek Skubal, but we're not in a position right now as a team to give out that kind of a deal. Going back through a second time, I think our best option is Jonathan India, whose potential went up to A last year. Alright, he's up to 62% after a few weeks here. Let's go ahead and give him a deal. I'm going to go down to 4 years, and let's bump it down just a little bit here to $14 million. Go ahead and test the waters there with India, and then for Nick Senzel, I'm going to offer him 2 years, and we're going to lowball him. And I think I've decided the last move I want to make is to bring back Jose Urquidy, who was pretty good for us last year. He's asking for 2 years at about $11 million. Looks like we'll have to continue negotiations here with Nick Senzel. And now for Jonathan India, same thing. So just before the Rule 5 draft here, I'm going to go ahead and offer all 3 of these guys deals once again. We got bumped down last time. Can we get bumped up this time? Yes, we can. We get bumped up to number 3. Hopefully we can get another stud in the draft next year. Jonathan India, round 2. Welcome to the team. 4 years, 14.6. Very happy with that. How about we go ahead and reunite here with Brett Beatty here in the first round of the Rule 5 draft. I'm kind of surprised he's here. Let's take a shot on Ryan Clifford here. I could probably throw him on the bench. He's only 62 overall. He is in the Mets organization in real life. I'm not sure why he didn't get picked up. Maybe because he is low overall, but with B potential. Let's give it a shot. Jose Urquidy, welcome back. And Nick Senzel, welcome to the team. Our lineup should be a little bit better than next year. We got a good leadoff hitter here in Jonathan India. Ty France improved a lot. Juan Soto, of course, coming back. Nick Pratto was probably the biggest surprise from last season. He's going to be batting 4th against righties. Would like to see a little bit more out of both Danny Jansen and Brendan Rodgers, that is for sure. Against lefties, we pull out our secret weapon here for Nick Senzel, who's going to be batting 2nd. I paid him $5.1 million per year, and right now I've just got him hitting against lefties, so we'll see how that goes. Pitching rotation should be decent again this year, mostly the same guys, and then I picked up Joey Wentz in the Rule 5 draft, who will hopefully be a better 5th starter. I didn't have a great 5th starter last season. Only one new face here in the bullpen, which is right-hander Brian Baker. Some of our prospects from the first draft of the video will be moving up, including starting pitcher Moses Austin into Double-A. Catcher and first-round draft pick from 2025 Tyler Gleason is going up to Double-A. And we also have shortstop Henry Matsui going up to Double-A, so a few members of the next generation will start playing their first professional games. If you're wondering about these deep potential players you're seeing, I had to sign them to replace the Joe Randoms we've lost. They're not going to be part of this video at all. It's purely just to fill out the rest of the roster. Well, let's see what we got here in year 3, opening up against a division opponent in the Marlins, who were exactly 500 last year. That is my goal for this season. Assad's an east-west kind of guy, sinker, sweeper, cutter. Most pitches go left and right, but there's a fastball at the top of the zone. And one of my favorite hitters in the game here, Xavier Edwards at the plate. Unbelievable stats, and he's actually got passable defense here in this roster. 2-2 delivery on the way here. And there's strike 3. Great start to the year. And in steps Juan Soto. And Soto, good swing, but that is going to stay in the yard. He's right in the middle towards the end, I would say, of his prime. So we've got to try to make the next few years count and start to ramp up the best we can. Even as he regresses, though, he's got a lot of quirks and just great hitting skills, so he should still be decent, as there's great contact from Jonathan India, but bad aim. 2 on, 2 out, bottom 5. India at the plate. And he's going to ground that, but right to second base, although it's bobbled, and India's safe. Was that Xavier Edwards? I can't tell. It looks like it. So now we've got the bases loaded for Ty France, one of our best hitters right now. This is a big opportunity in this game. He grounds that down the line. It's a fair ball. A second run is in, and France gives us the lead. Top of the order coming up here, too. Assad's got to lock in big time to get us out of this jam. Oh, that's not good. Soto back. That's off the wall. One of the better ballparks, in my opinion. Great experience, Danny Jansen. That's great contact. Out to right, Stowers at the wall, and that's off the top of the wall. Just missed being a home run. He's going for 3, and he's in there with a triple. Brett Beatty trying to drive him in, goes down swinging. And it's going from bad to worse. We've given up 5, make that 7 here in the 7th. Now down 10-3, I'm simming to the end of this game, and we got smoked. Really rough start to the year as we're 1-7. I would still like to find a couple good pitchers here, so we're going to continue to scout them as always. And then we've got a pretty high pick, number 3, so I'm hoping we can get a very transformative position player prospect at the top of the board here. And there are some pretty good options, but I know who I want to scout first. First baseman Jason Hatfield. If you ever see a 0, look in the bottom right there, stealing 0, you definitely want to scout this kind of prospect. And we're starting to finally get some victories here. There's 3 in a row, and we take this series against Cincinnati. Heading to the weekend series against the Giants, we've split it so far. We're now 9-12. And Hatfield's looking pretty good. He'll probably have high B, maybe even low A potential. Great contact. I'm definitely going to scout some other guys at the top of the board, though, too, just to have some more options. Finishing April with another series against the Marlins, we win the first game, we lose the second game, and going into the third game, we end up losing another series to the Fish. And Ricky Hull looks like he's going to be decent, so he is another option for us. And then we've also got the number 1 player in the class here, Brett Bach, and we've got Jason Hatfield, so I feel good about the first round. Even early in the year, division games are so important. We've got to try to win some of these. Danny Jansen on the ground, that's fair, and it'll tie the game. Looks like Brendan Rodgers is doing a little bit better this season. He's actually doing a lot better. 330 on base percentage, 703 OPS. And he's got an opportunity right here to walk off the Phillies, and that's lined up the middle, into the gap, and he's done it. No way Marsh is going to be able to get that in time. The Mets walk off the Phillies. That is a spark right there. We needed that. And on the scouting side, I have found a couple of good Discovery starters, although Scott McCabe does not have the build that I like. Willie Wood does, and he's ranked right behind him. And just behind those guys is Diego Ramo, who looks okay, low hits per 9. We've had a few of these guys. In the very next week, I found a gem first baseman. Eddie Manzo's risen from 104 all the way to 43rd. But it gets better than that, as we just discovered the number 4 ranked player in the class looks like an elite center fielder. We are slowly crawling back to 500 now, 31-34, still low down in the division. The Braves are playing very well. And that center fielder moved down the board a little bit, but he still looks pretty good. Look at that speed and defense. On July 4th, we finally get to 500 at 45-45. We're right where I was hoping we would be this season. Actually, we're in second place. The Phillies fell off really bad, and we're just chasing the Braves, although they are 6 games in front. Despite us being close in the division, though, we are 3.5 games out of the wild card. Bill Kohler's looking like a pretty good discovery option for us in the mid to late rounds, middle infielder. Well, Bostapka's looking like he might be a gem, and Howard Dennison has moved way up, and look at those plate skills. I might even take this guy in the first round. And right after that clip, we go on a 5-game losing streak, including losing 12-11 to the Cubs, and now we head into the draft, where we've now got a 6-game losing streak. I think Howard Dennison is my favorite player in this class. Look at those hitting stats. He's moved way up to 13th, and I know we pick at 3rd. That might feel like a reach, but I mean, look at this build. It's going to be between him and Brett Bach or Jason Hatfield in the first round. In the mid-rounds, we've got the elite defender Tanner Krause in center field available, as well as second base Bill Kohler, who's also Discovery, and then we've got our best gem here, Eddie Manzo. And after that, I've got a lot of pitchers to choose from. Let's get this started. I'm really curious to see who goes ahead of us. With the first pick, the Nationals take a catcher that I did not scout. We've already got 2 in the farm system. And with the second pick in the draft, it's Dan Meredith. I might be a little bit crazy, but I'm going to skip over the number 1 player and instead take Howard Dennison. I just cannot pass up those plate skills, even if he only has mid-B potential. And that number 1 player didn't go till pick 21. With the 44th pick, I'm going to reach for Eddie Manzo because he is almost certainly going to have a potential. He might not be able to play in the field, but he should be a very good DH once we let him develop. And I got lucky because in the next round, Tanner Krause is still here. Let's grab this elite defender. I am going to take a starter here in round 4, and I'm going to go with Diego Ramo. He looks pretty good. This is the guy with low hits per 9, but everything else looks solid. My board is holding up pretty well here. Infielder Bill Keller is still here for round 5. Let's go with him. And with our last pick, I'm going to grab another Discovery starter, Richard Sable. He'll probably have mid to low B potential. It actually ends up being a 7-game losing streak as we head to the All-Star game. That is really disappointing. We were right there, and now we're in second to last. Danny Jansen's getting an All-Star nomination. He's having a much better season with a 714 OPS. Actually, he was pretty good last year. I guess 679 is not too bad. And he is our only pick. Juan Soto did not make it in. I am surprised at that because he does have a 966 OPS. He's having the best season so far in this video, and I'm glad to see that he's not started to regress just yet. Once again, we've got some decent relievers, not as good as last year, but I've got to scroll down a bit to our first starter, and it's John Nash having the best season. I'm excited to see that. This was our draft pick from round 4 of 2025. We threw him directly in the majors, and he's making some improvements here, although the whip remains high. Our biggest disappointment in the rotation has been Matt Waldron. I don't know why. His stats look pretty good. Maybe he's given up too many home runs. He has given up 20 in 78 innings. As a team, we are a below average offense right here at 23rd with 371 runs scored so far. Not great. Our on-base percentage is down at 26th, below 300, even with Soto at 400. Looks like we're middle of the pack here for ERA at 18th with 393. And I also extended Max Lazar for 4 years at $2.5 million per year. He's been very reliable for us. We're still not really good at anything just yet, but we're slowly improving, and hopefully we can bounce back this year and get to 500. Still a couple games under 500, 55 and 57 on August 2nd. Let's take a look at our draft picks here, and not too good on first glance. Let's dive in a little bit. Starting with Howard Dennison, who only ended up with 85 potential. Now, the plate skills do look really nice, and he should develop into a great hitter. In hindsight, I probably would have been a little better off with Brett Balk, but he is 21 at 68 overall, so 3 years older than our pick. Back to our picks, though, and in the second round, we did get a 90 potential first baseman, Eddie Manzo. He is more of a project at 57 overall, but he's got great hitting stats right out of the gate. Tanner Krause is disappointing with only 76 potential. Obviously, the defense and speed is going to be really good, but the hitting stats might never get there. Diego Ramos, okay, 84 potential. Again, hits per 9 is concerning. We'll have to see how he does in the minors. About what I expected here with Bill Kohler, 82 potential, 56 overall. And Richard Sable has 79 potential, but he does have pretty good stats. I don't mind it. I've been in a little bit of a funk lately with my drafts. I think I've been taking too many discovery guys and not focusing enough on late round gems. We're not going to be able to salvage this season, so I am just going ahead and simming to the end of it. Unfortunately, we're 64 and 75. Things have just gotten worse. Trying to find some positives, and I see one here. Our best starting pitcher in the farm system is Moses Austin, and he's improved a lot this year, and he's got a 2.57 ERA here in Double-A. The best news I have, though, is Henry Matsui. Look at the contact added here for our shortstop. He's also added defense, which is what I actually have him training on, and he's got a 308 average, 375 on base, and an 809 OPS. That is great to see. He's exceeding my expectations so far. And don't forget, we also have Greg Whitman here at shortstop, who's in single A right now, but he'll be playing games next year. Once again, the unders are going to get to cash their bets. 74 and 88, not good. That puts us 4th in the division, 23 games behind first place. We still got a little bit better at least. We are now the 3rd to last team in the NL. Obviously, I was hoping for a little bit better than that, though, and taking a look at the stats, pretty much the same as my midseason update. Soto was exceptional, but we've really got to take more advantage of his prime. And as I mentioned before, we did see some improvement with John Nash, who's up to 79 overall, and he had a 4.08 ERA. Hopefully he can get that under 4 next season. Bondo was disappointing as our high leverage lefty here with 80 innings and a 4.8 ERA, and it actually looks like Matt Waldron bounced back a little bit. He came back for September call-up, so maybe I will give him a contract after all and just leave him in AAA. But as it stands now, this team is incredibly mid, but we did somehow get a league leader. Okay, it's Juan Soto for walks. That makes sense. Simming to the offseason, and the Dodgers take down the Guardians in the 2027 World Series. So for this next offseason, I've got to make a bigger impact in free agency. I'm seeing a lot of pitchers at the top of the board once again. Adley Rutschman is the best position player. We don't really need a catcher, though. I'm not sure if I want to throw him on the board. The next best position player is Steven Kwan, who I also signed in my Tigers rebuild. He is an option. He does want 7 years, $31 million per year, but let's just throw him on the board for now. I'm also interested in Brendan Donovan, who's looking for a 5-year deal, about $15 million. Great positional flexibility. He's 31 with beat potential. No signs of regressing just yet, and he also has a very good on-base percentage, so let's throw him on the board. I guess I'm going to believe in Matt Waldron for one more season because he's only costing about $5 million in arbitration, which is pretty good for a 79 overall pitcher with 81 walks per nine. And I'm bringing most of these guys back with the exception of Brennan Bernardino as well as Anthony Banda, which means both of our lefty relievers are going. I'm also going to move on from Weston Wilson and Brian Hoying. Donovan's asking price is about half of Kwan's, and on average he's put up about 4 WAR the last 3 seasons, so my appetite's a little bigger for him actually over Kwan. Still thinking about Steven Kwan here. He might go off the board before I get a chance to give him a deal, but I am sure that I want to give Brendan Donovan a deal, and I'm going to go down to 4 years, but I'm going to bump it up to about $16.5 million. He is definitely worth that based on the WAR he's been putting up. I've mostly been focusing on position players in free agency, but I see that Sandy Alcantara is available, and he is asking for only 2 years and $17 million a year. I already made one move for a pitcher here, and that was signing a pre-arbitration extension with John Nash for 5 years at $9.2 million per year. I think he has 81 or 82 potential. He's just pretty solid overall. He should be able to give us, high 3 ERAs going forward. And while I'm here, you can see we've got $62.1 million available up there in the top left. Budget's currently at $140 million this year, but we've got a lot coming off the books next season. Decision time with Donovan. Let's see. He's in. Beautiful. That worked out great. So I'm going to take Kwan off the board. Sandy's moving to the number 1 spot, and let me look back at the free agent list here. I'm going to switch gears and put Isaac Paredes on the board. Now, we do already have a lot of infielders, but as I showed before, we're going to be losing some of them next year, and he's only 29 years old, 88 overall with beat potential. He is a top 20 prospect, so I'm sure there'll be some competition, but let's give it a shot and see if we can get him signed. Okay, there is definitely some competition for Paredes. Let's throw our hat in the ring here before it's too late, and I'm just going to go for exactly what he wants. Let's see how it goes. Let's also offer Alcantara a deal. I'm going to go up to 3 years, but I'm going to bring down the AAV quite a bit. Let's go for 14. I'm not sure who this decision is for. It would be great if we could get either of these guys, and we've got pens. Who is it here? Let's see. It's Paredes. Wow. Well, that for sure means that Donovan is going to be playing left field because we've got a new third baseman, and I'm very surprised we were able to get Isaac. That's awesome for us. We're taking a big leap forward here. This lineup is getting so much better. All right, here we go. Sandy, not interested yet, and not too happy with the offer. I guess one good thing about having another bad year is we do have a chance at a high pick. It's a low chance. We started at 8, and we go up to 2. Oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever gotten lucky like that. Look at this. None of the favorites got a high pick. They all got screwed. Man, it feels good to be on this side of the coin. Not sure if I've seen this before. It doesn't show who Alcantara is rumored to be talking to. It says verification failed. So, not sure what the deal is there, but I'm going to give him the exact same offer again, and let's see how it goes this time. Before we get a result from that offer, though, we need to go to the Rule 5 draft. I think we've got to take the shot on the high potential outfielder Dylan Head first here. He's got, it's 80 potential, I just saw it. That's not as high as I thought it might be. I definitely need to work on his contact, but he can sit on the bench and improve. He's only 23. I've decided on Colby Allard here for the next pick. And screw it, let's grab Xavier Curry too. All right, second round here with Sandy, and he's in. We have finally gotten ourselves an ace after all this time. He is going to come in the number 1 spot right away. I'm going to have to shift some things around here in the rotation and bullpen. We've probably got one too many guys for now. Probably send Matt Waldron down. We have got a very legitimate shot to make the playoffs here in year 4 of the rebuild. And on top of that, we've got a much better farm system and way more depth now that we've got a few seasons behind us. It all starts right here, opening day against the Diamondbacks. Not only do we make some additions to the lineup, we also added an ace in Sandy Alcantara, coming off of not a great year, but his stats look really good, expecting a bounce back. Here's a 1-2, and he starts the year with a strikeout. Get used to seeing this. At least I hope so. Will Isaac Paredes be a difference maker for us? I'm hoping so. We've got him for 5 seasons. I'm going to throw his spray chart on the board here for you. If you haven't seen this before, he is the biggest pull hitter of all time. Oh boy. Jordan Lawler with a no-doubter to right center. That is a lot of power, Oppo. 450. Soto with a laser beam. 116. That's cut off again out there in the gap. The Diamondbacks have a nice defense. I strongly disagree with the CPU. They project us for only 69 wins this year. I think we're going to be a playoff team. Lawler hits another one to double the lead here for the D-backs, and we are just struggling offensively against Burns, but it does look like he's almost out of energy. Our bullpen's held it together nicely here, but offensively we've just really not been able to do a whole lot today. D-backs closer Justin Martinez coming in. Brendan Rodgers steps up to the plate, and he steps back to the dugout as we lose on opening day. We end up splitting that series, and now we go up against San Francisco, and they win that series. But we do manage to take down the Phillies here, and we are 5-4 to start the year. Now, we got incredibly lucky and got the second pick, and after last year, I am extremely motivated to find a truly transformative position player at the top of the board here. I still have yet to get a prospect that is truly transformative for our team, and I think Juan Escobar might be generational. I'm going to throw him on the board first, and let's see if he is. We go on to sweep Atlanta here in the second week of April. That puts us now at 9-6, but we're still behind both the Braves and the Phillies. And after 1 week, Escobar has stayed at the same ranking, which is a very good sign. Check out my How to Find Generational Prospects video if you haven't seen it yet. I'm feeling pretty good here. And we also discovered a promising looking pitcher in the first week here, Mitchell Corey. And after 1 more week, I am feeling very good. Juan Escobar should be generational. I'm not going to scout him any further. My only concern now is we've got the second pick, and I've got a really bad feeling he's going to get taken right in front of us. We do back up a little bit, though, as we finish out April down to 18-15, right in the middle of the pack, but in striking distance. And Soto's been going absolutely nuclear. Unfortunately, we're seeing the first sign of regression here, but he is batting .402 with almost a 1.3 OPS. He's already got 14 home runs in 33 games. In 1 month, he has put up 3.1 WAR. As expected, Soto's in first place for the MVP. The average is carrying him quite a bit. He's tied for home runs, and he's behind Shohei for RBI. But this would be a nice award to get during this video since it's about him after all. We take on the Florida teams this week and split a series against Miami, but we do win our first 2 against Tampa, including a 17-3 victory with Alcantara on the mound. We had 19 hits, and Soto hit 2 home runs. Since I know who I want to take in the first round, I've been starting to scout some gems here, and Brooke Thorpe is looking pretty good at short. I haven't finished Kenny Hamel's profile, but he's looking promising at second base. And I also scouted Mackenzie Temple, and he only looks okay. And at the end of the day, Thorpe only looks okay. I probably wouldn't take him. Moving quickly up now to June 11th, and we're in second place, just a half game behind the Braves. And although Soto slowed up a little bit, he's still got 27 home runs and a 1.1 OPS, but I see that Jonathan India's playing very well. He's starting to reach up to his max potential, continuing to improve, and having a career season by far. And Sandy continues to dominate. He's actually improving, getting better, which I was a little worried he might regress, but I was comfortable enough to give him 3 years, and his first year is going great so far. And quickly on the scouting side, we're in week 11, and this Discovery right fielder, Larry Calhoun, looks good with nice plate skills. The only thing that really matters, though, is are we going to be able to get Juan Escobar or not? I want to offer a piece of advice here. If you haven't seen my video about how to scout late round gems, I want to point out Ryan Ross. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a gem, but this guy was Discovery, and he's not ranked, and look at the attribute ranges. Do not be afraid to scout guys that are not ranked in the class. I wouldn't prioritize them, but if you see somebody like this, take a look at him. After 1 week, he's still not ranked, but the potential and overall ranges are still pretty promising, so I'm going to finish his profile. And this series against Washington should have been a good time to farm some wins as they're terrible, but we lose that series, although we've won the first 2 against Philly, and now we're going to get another chance here against Washington. We win games 1 and 2, we lose game 3, and we end up splitting the series. That's disappointing. Okay, I didn't think he would be this good. I have to admit that. 19th ranked in the class is Ryan Ross. Discovery and not ranked out of the gate. That is probably the best late round gem I have ever found. Now, the hitting profile is not great, but if we can get this guy late in the class, that is a steal. All tied up in the top of the 10th, nobody out here. Soto's at the plate. And we're facing Texas. We've got the direct camera angle here. You can see all the action on the pitches. That's softly hit. Get down. It drops. Soto gives us the lead. His hitting streak is up to 14 games. We will be looking towards Max Lazar to close it down. He's having another great season. I don't think I've signed this guy before, but I'm going to be looking for him every year going forward, and I did extend him a while back for several seasons. 4-seam, 12-6 cutter, pretty simple approach here for Lazar, but he is making it work, that is for sure. There's a nice fastball, that's 2 down. Despite regressing, Yandy Diaz is a very good contact hitter. He is still in the 1 hole for the Rangers. Lazar's got him here in a 2-2, and he hits him. And that's going to bring up Evan Carter, who I did not want to see here. He is very good against righties. I did a spotlight on Lazar. I'm really hoping I did not jinx him. Doesn't look like it. Grounded to India. 360 to first. Wow, okay. Timely hit from Juan Soto, and 31st save for Max Lazar. We take down the Rangers. This has been a great year so far, and what can make it even better is if the Blue Jays do not take Juan Escobar. I'm almost certain he's generational, and interestingly, he can also play catcher as a secondary. And frankly, my entire draft board rocks. We've got so many good options in here, some discovery ones, some good late round guys, a handful of position players. I'm pretty excited about this. I even found an 18-year-old closer that looks like he's going to have pretty high potential. And as always, I've got a ton of starters to choose from later in the class, including one with guaranteed high potential that I would like to take maybe in the second round. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. Don't do it to me. Okay! The Blue Jays have no idea how big of a mistake they just made. Juan Escobar, welcome to the Mets. But I still find a way to get screwed as that high potential pitcher got taken right in front of my second pick. That's okay, we still have Larry Calhoun here, the 14th ranked player in the class. He's got great contact, he'll probably have beat potential. I'm really just drafting him for his plate skills. I highly doubt that Ryan Ross is going to get taken. This was the Discovery non-ranked guy that jumped up to 19th. I really want him, but I don't want to take him right here with our second pick. Instead, I want to go with the second baseman, Gene Morcaldi. Should have high potential. I'm going to keep risking it with Ryan Ross, and I am going to miss out on Phil Murillo, but we already have a couple shortstops in the farm system, and I don't have a closer yet. Salazar should have pretty high potential, and he's also left-handed. Let's grab him. And finally, in the 5th round, I will take Ryan Ross. I can't wait to see what this guy looks like. This draft has been amazing so far, and in the final round, we've still got a good discovery starter here. Mitchell Corey, ranked 17th, high walks per 9. Honestly, just really good stats all around, and we're going to take him. We headed to the All-Star break in 2nd place, a half game behind the Braves. We are 11 games above 500. We've only got one All-Star, Juan Soto, who is the best player in the league this year. He is unbelievable. Sandy Alcantara continues to pitch well with a 3.05 ERA, but he is cold right now. We are having some other concerns in the rotation, and Matt Waldron's found his way in here while John Nash is injured, but I might keep it that way. We did lose Brian Baker for the rest of the season to a torn labrum, and he had been pitching pretty well. Since the All-Star break, we've gotten on a pretty good run here. We have had some close victories. The back end of our bullpen's been solid, and we are now 65-49. It's time to view our draft picks, and there we go. We have just turned this rebuild up to 1,000 with a generational prospect here. Juan Escobar can play the corners, and he can also catch, although the defense is a little bit concerning. He reminds me a lot of David Chan from my long balls video. He's got a little bit better stats against righties, but generally all around looks amazing. Larry Calhoun, 72 overall with 87 potential, and his hitting stats look amazing. He might profile as more of a DH, but he's going to tear the cover off the ball. Gene Morcaldi actually exceeded his potential range here. It maxed out at 94, and he is 95 potential. Kind of a power build, good defense here in the infield, first base, second base, and third base. He is 57 overall, so a ways away from the show. We might not see him in this video. He's also 236 pounds, 6'4" from Australia. I'm glad that I took this closer, Lorenzo Salazar. You don't find too many 18-year-old closers with high potential. I just had a feeling he was going to be good, and I scouted him, and it turned out great. He's going to need to develop a little bit. And the moment of truth here, Ryan Ross, 92 potential. This guy came truly out of nowhere, and he looks really, really good. Great speed and defense, good hitting outlook, totally unexpected type of draft pick. Really cool. And last but not least, Discovery starting pitcher Mitchell Corey has 85 potential, but he does have a very good build. He is 71 overall already too, so he's not going to take too long to develop. I had to light a fire under my ass a little bit after the last few drafts. I've been struggling a bit, and this is a huge improvement. What would have been insane is if I was able to get this starting pitcher that I called out during the draft who had that high potential range, we would have had back-to-back 99 potential draft picks. We are atop the NL East here. There is a lot to like about this season so far. Heading into a weekend series against Philly, though, we're struggling. Juan Soto is coming to the plate, though, having that insane season. Already 3 for 4 on the day. And make that 4 for 4 with a walk-off nuke into right. Whoa! This guy is unbelievable. He almost hit that out of the building. That was in the very top towards the restaurants. If you've stuck around to this part of the video, you are getting to see one of the best runs I have had in franchise. This is insane right now. Sadly, our defensive center fielder here, Baroa, is going to be out for the rest of the season, though. Thankfully, we've got a lot more depth now, so I can bring Jordan Adams back up to the MLB. And in a couple years, we'll be able to look towards Tanner Krause, who we drafted last season. It's just the hitting stats that are holding him back. Coming off of a sweep of Detroit, we take the first 2 here from Washington. We've got a lot of division opponents. We end up sweeping Washington, and now taking on Philly, we get swept before we head to Atlanta, win the first, lose the second, and end up losing. Oh, there's one more game. We end up splitting that series. So now we're 77-61, still barely in first. We would end the month with 79 wins and a game and a half up on the Braves. A lot of our success lately is from improvements in the pitching staff. Alcantara's been good all year, but I see that John Nash is starting to heat up. His ERA's back down to 4.5. Matt Waldron's been good in the rotation. Assad and Urquidy especially are struggling a little bit here. This is the last year of his contract. And the back end of the bullpen has been so good, especially Brule and Lazar, who've really held it down. Lazar, I can't say enough good things about this guy. 46-3. We don't have many big division games left this season. Miami's the only team in our division that we play during the final month of the year. At any moment, we should be able to clinch this division. We didn't quite clinch the division, but now up to 90 wins, we have clinched our first postseason appearance of the video. Last series of the year against the Cubs here, Max Lazar was in a jam, managed to get out of it. We take that win. We lose the second to last game and the final game of the season. Another tough spot for Max Lazar, and this time he's not able to pull through, but we do finish with 91 wins, 71 losses. What a fun year on so many different levels. Unfortunately, we do have to play a wildcard series against the Braves, and they were right behind us in the division. This should be a really interesting series. I'm going to take a look at the league leaders and awards here in a moment, but first let's take a look at how the full player staff here did. Obviously, Soto was incredible, but also India and Paredes were good, and Donovan had a nice season. On top of that, we had some really good relievers, especially Lazar, who actually was briefly 80 overall and surpassed his max potential. He had 52 saves this year. Our rotation got better and better as the year went on. Sandy got off to a hot start right out of the gate, and look at this improvement. He's up to 93 overall. I think we made a pretty good move here in free agency. He almost got 200 innings. This is looking like Cy Young Sandy from back in the day. All right, let's take a look at the awards here. Delivery Man of the Year for Max Lazar, very well deserved. Batting title for Soto. Did he not get the MVP? No way. Stowers beat him out. The Dodgers completely swept the Cy Young. They are going to be a real roadblock for us once we start pushing further in the postseason, maybe even this year. Soto did eke out that batting title from Stowers, and then we've got this reliever of the year for Max Lazar, taking down Tanner Scott and Griffin Jax, two really, really good relievers. Now, the rotation could be an issue in the playoffs. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to move Urquidy over into the long relief role along with Joey Wentz, and our four are going to be Alcantara, Assad, Waldron, and Nash. Here we go for game one of the wild card, taking on probably our biggest rivals here, the Braves. It's got to be either them or the Yankees. I'm not sure. Mets fans, you got to tell me. Everything is set here at Citi Field. Let's get this postseason underway. Taking the pill, of course, will be Sandy Alcantara. He faces Bo Bichette right out of the gate here and strikes him out on a splitter. The Mets have a pretty good lineup here. Along with Bichette, they have Austin Riley, 96 overall, Matt Olson, 93 overall. Not to mention Michael Harris patrolling center at 93 overall, and of course Ronald Acuna Jr., 99 overall. They are a very good team, and we're going to have to pitch very well to keep pace. That's a walk from Sandy. 2-2 on the way to Austin Riley, and that is killed. 119 off the bat. That's about as high as you can go. Oh boy, if Sandy can't get through this lineup, I don't know who can. Well, our turn to hit now, and we're going to have to go up against Spencer Strider, who's won a Cy Young during this simulation. If anyone's going to put up a good fight, it'll be Juan Soto, although he's down 1-2 and even he strikes out. I've got a feeling we're going to be in for a long day as we're getting no hit through 3 innings. Finally, we're on the board thanks to a home run from Jonathan India. That is 8 Ks now from Spencer Strider. Isaac Paredes with a good swing and a base hit. Ty France at the plate now, goes down swinging. That's 9 Ks through 4. There you see the matchup. Sandy's just given up way too many walks so far and that home run. And he's in a jam in the 5th with runners on the corners and 1 out. Ronald Acuna at the plate. Incredibly dangerous hitter. 3-2 pitch, and that is roasted deep to center and gone. That is another home run with runners on base from Sandy. And that is going to be it for him in this game. India's our only contributor today. He's got another solo shot, and Soto with the walk now. Felix Bautista comes into the game and gets a double play, and we lose 5-2. It looks like we're probably going to need to put up at least 5 or 6 runs in every game if we're going to beat the Braves. So we lose game 1. Can we fare a little better in game 2? Potentially, but we're down 1 in the bottom of the 9th. We're either about to make an incredible comeback or be eliminated very swiftly from the postseason. Home crowd on their feet, begging their team to do something here. Brendan Donovan at the plate on a 3-1 pitch, draws a walk. We've got 2 on. And we've got the top of our lineup here. Jonathan India's coming to the plate now and Soto on deck. What I'm telling you is we've got a chance. Jonathan India goes down looking. In order to defeat us, though, the Braves will have to take down Juan Soto. If it weren't for Kyle Stowers, you're looking at the MVP of this year right in front of you. A lot of tension here. Shuffling his way to a 2-1 count. Make that 3-1 and another shuffle. Soto can smell blood in the water. He's got Maton right where he wants him. Here's the pitch. It's hit well, but it's right to Harrison center, and the Braves take us down. The Braves enact their revenge on us, and we've got to find a way to get quite a bit better because that lineup is absolutely gross. And now I'm going to send to the offseason, and it's the D-backs who defeat the Red Sox. We'll have to retool a little bit here because we're losing France, Jansen, Urquidy, Rogers, and Senzel to free agency, and as the rules go, exclusive free agents do count as free agent signings. There is some positive news because some of our prospects, like starting pitcher Moses Austin, might make their debut. I could see the 19-year-old Howard Dennison coming up right away here to play first base. And maybe even shortstop Greg Whitman to come in and play, who we drafted in the first round of 2026, although the hitting stats still leave a little bit to be desired. The biggest decision is Juan Escobar going to come up right away. I kind of want to let him develop a little bit, but I'll have to make that decision here soon. And lastly, we'll have to figure something out at catcher because I was hoping Tyler Gleason would be ready. He is defensively, but offensively, not so much. We've got plenty of money to work with, and I think our fans are looking for a deeper playoff run, so I don't think there's anything holding us back. We've got $110 million to play with. There's a lot for us to choose from between Gunnar Henderson or another ace like Christopher Sanchez. They are asking for very long and very lucrative deals. Maybe we look at somebody like Riley Green, or we could even look at Ronald Acuna Jr., although it looks like he is also starting to regress and is asking for 8 more years. We need a better number 2 starter in our rotation, and I'd also like to get a lefty, and I think Braxton Garrett is a good fit for us. He is asking for 4 years, which I'm a little bit hesitant to do 4, but he's been very solid the last 4 seasons during this simulation. He's in a pretty good price range, around $25 million per year, so let's get him on the board. And since we need that short-term catching help while we wait for our prospect coming up, let's look at Sean Murphy, who's got elite defense, and his plate skills are fair. Looks like he's not really been playing a whole lot for some reason for the Braves. He's asking for 2 years. I might just want to give him 1, but let's get him on the board. These are the first 2 guys I'm interested in. As far as our arbitration-eligible players, Javier Assad I want to bring back for another year. He should be a pretty good 4 or 5 starter for us now. Waldron's not coming back, but Baker and Miller are in the bullpen, and I am going to let Brian Hoying go. I expected more from him, and he hasn't really played a whole lot either. I don't think we need Nick Pratto anymore with some of our other first basemen as well as prospects, and then I am going to bring back Brett Beatty, Colby Allard on a 3-year deal, and Stuart Baroa for his defense and speed. Okay, this is not good. Braxton Garrett is only 12% motivated to sign with us. I did put starting pitcher and left-handed pitcher as needs, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a good fit. We're going to have to go back to the drawing board. I'm looking for a good left-handed starter. I don't think I'm willing to pay $43 million for one, though, even if Christopher Sanchez looks insane. The next best option is Cole Reagans, but he's asking for a 7-year deal, and that's just too much. We've got plenty of prospects that'll be available by then. So I might not be able to get a lefty, but if I want to switch gears and get a righty, I see Tyler Mahle here. Great control pitcher with nice hits per 9, pretty good walks per 9, and he's pitched very well in a couple seasons here, under 3 ERA. Let's throw him on the board instead of Braxton Garrett. Maybe this is a better fit for us. Murphy's at 32%. That's also not great right out of the gate here. Oh boy. Dodgers just got even better. Acuna's headed to LA. Our rumor verification failed again here with Mahle. I'm going to go ahead and offer him right away. This is one of the main guys I want. We'll go for 2 years and bump it up just a little bit. And decision time, he's in right away. Beautiful. So we've got a 2-starter behind Sandy. Assad is right now projecting as our 3-starter. We might be able to do a little better. Maybe I could find another pitcher in free agency. That might not be the best move, though, because we still have positions to fill besides catcher. I think we can do first base internally, but I'm going to need to either fill in shortstop or an outfielder if I move Donovan to short. I've gone back and forth a little bit. I've got to just make a decision here. We do need to get another position player. That's got to be the way we go, and I want to go for center field. It's a little bit of a black hole for us. We've got some good defensive guys, but nobody that's good enough at the plate, and Jake McCarthy checks both of those boxes with a decent on-base percentage, and he adds a lot of speed and stealing ability, which is something we need. I think in general we're going to be a pretty strong defensive team this year, and we'll add a little bit of speed, make ourselves a little more dynamic, should be a good recipe. I don't plan to bring Escobar immediately up to the show. I want to see some improvement at defense, especially if we end up putting him at catcher. Show me the pens here. We got the pens. Murphy should be really good behind the dish. Not as many good reliever options in this Rule 5 draft. I think the best available is Saul Frank here. So I'm going to go with him. He's left-handed. We'll take it. Also looking for a middle infield utility type guy, and I think we could go with Christian Koss for a season. Why not? And we got Jake McCarthy on a very good deal. 4 years at 12.5. India, Soto, and Paredes right in the middle of the order. Sean Murphy catching, of course. And then we've got a rookie first baseman here, Howard Dennison from the first round of 2027. Pretty good defense, and the hitting stats look nice. Just 19 years old. Opening day 2029, I believe it is. Sandy coming back as our ace again. Good year last year. I think he can do even better than that if he puts it all together. Cardinals with only 63 wins last year were not very good. Hopefully we can have a nice opening day. Hey, good play there from our new shortstop, Christian Koss. And how will our protagonist Juan Soto follow up last season? Unbelievable year. He kind of got screwed out of the MVP thanks to Kyle Stowers. Cease's looking for 3 straight Ks, and he gets it. Good hitter at the plate, Brent Rooker. And Sandy gets him on the high cheese. He's looked good so far today. There's another strikeout. I would imagine that pitching in the rain is not easy. Hitting's probably not that easy too. There's another strikeout from Sandy. And now we get to see our rookie first baseman, Howard Dennison. I may have to change this batting stance. That is just absurd. You cannot be crowding the plate like this, Howie. What are we doing? He strikes out. Something in the outfield should get us on the board as Paredes steps up to the plate, and he goes down looking. If we're going to score this inning, it's up to Jake McCarthy, and he flies out lazily to left. We rough up Cease a little bit, but opportunity missed there as this game's been pretty boring, and I'm starting to simulate a little bit. I might have to stop, though, because Sandy has a no-hitter through 7. Soto, 99 off the bat, but it is high. Back into right. Burleson not going to get there. That is a home run. He knocks Cease out of the game with that home run. And Jake McCarthy with a home run of his own. The apple goes up in center field. Now that one was a no-doubter, and it's McCarthy's first hit as a Metro. That is not something we've seen a whole lot of out of our center fielders in this video for sure. And I was wrong about Sandy. He's actually working on a perfect game with 6 more outs to go. And I jinx him right away as he walks Brent Rooker. He can still get himself a no-hitter, but he is running up that pitch count. That's a laser, but McCarthy's got it. Only 4 more outs to get now, but he is at 98 pitches. And here's number 100 on the way. It's a lazy pop-out. He carries it into the 9th. 3 more to go. Can Sandy have a memorable moment on opening day? 1-2 to Mason Wynn. That's strike 3. No way! What are you doing, coach? You gotta be kidding me! He tips his cap, but he was only 2 outs away. You gotta let him stretch that out. We can still get a combined no-hitter, but that is nowhere near as cool. And Victor Scott down the right field line. Barely. No, it's off the pole. Unbelievable. All of a sudden, we're only up 1 with the Cardinals' best prospect at the plate. But thankfully, Lazar gets the job done. 2 solo shots proved to be the difference for us, but I cannot believe that Sandy was taken out of the game. He's on fire in his very next start, working on a complete game shutout this time. And we're taking on a division rival here in the Phillies. He does have to face the top of their lineup, but that's a ground out from Trey Turner. He gets a ground out. That could be 2, second to 1, to first for 2, and this time he goes the distance. For the first time since the very beginning of this video, we don't have a high draft pick this year, so we probably will not be getting another generational talent. Not exactly a blazing hot start to the year here at 16 and 17, but I did find my favorite first round option so far in Danny Finney. There has been a ton of good first basemen in this video. We've already got prospect Howard Dennison up in the show, and behind him we've got Russell Pohl and Eddie Manzo. Even though we can't trade in this video, I pretty much always take the best players I can get, and Finney can play left field. And after that insane start, Sandy's really been struggling lately, and his ERA is up to 4.34 now. On the flip side, Tyler Mahley's been unbelievable, pitching to a 1.09. Just won 9 in a row after winning all 6 of our games here in week 3 of May, including a 19-6 victory over Cleveland. And on the scouting side, I found another gem here, Charles Gonzalez out in center field, although the build does not look that great. He does have good speed, probably a potential though. There haven't been many pitchers rising way up the board, but we do have a good discovery option here in DeAndre Ewing. The streak ends at 10 games, and now we've lost 5 in a row. We're just going back and forth, haven't decided if we want to be good or bad yet. And of course, as you would expect, we turn around and now we've won 6 straight again as we get into June. We're tied for 10th in runs scored, so still above average, but nothing special. And I look at the top of the board and I see the Marlins and the Braves there, but at the very top is 2 teams from the AL East, Boston and New York. I can't think of a much worse thing to happen to our lineup here, as Juan Soto is going to be out for a couple of months with an injured arm. He is obviously by far our best player, having an even better season so far than last year. I just realized that now. Our lineup is definitely going to suffer for this, though, as we're heading into some division games here, and we're playing Washington, and it looks like we're actually playing okay. But a Juan Soto-sized hole in a lineup is pretty much impossible to fill. Everybody else is going to have to step up. But this is Eliezer Alfonso, backup catcher with the bases loaded. Batting .059 with runners in scoring position. Lines one into left, and sometimes it's the unlikeliest of heroes. We are cruising into the draft at 55 and 39, still atop the division. And I've got no idea who I'm going to take or who's going to be left for us in the first round, but I can tell you I did find quite a few gem position players to choose from. If things work out my way, I'm probably going to take Danny Finney, who is definitely the best player I found, but the odds are unlikely he will fall to our pick. Of course, I will not be getting Danny Finney, he got taken 7th. And one of my best late round options, Lonnie Stewart, is also off the board. There is a slight chance that Charles Gonzalez will fall to our next pick, and I think that means I should take Antonio Chavez, who is older but should have guaranteed A potential. Gonzalez did not fall, he got taken 32nd. We don't pick again until pick 101, so I've got to really make this next pick count. It might seem a little bit crazy, but I'm going to take a closer, David Chavis. We do not have much in the farm system for the bullpen, and eventually all our good guys are going to run out. And so we're going with the closer, David Chavis. I'm doubting that the CPU discovered Dick Haas, but I can't take the chance. I'm going to take him here. I'm going with a project shortstop for pick 131, Jim Hahn, who rose up the board a lot. He should have high potential. I'm surprised how well my board is held up here. We've still got a lot of options, and I think in this next one, I'm going to go with Kenny Hillman, another project outfielder, should have high potential, and projects to have some power and speed. I don't really like any of these starter options left, and I think our farm system is in a fine spot, so I'm going to grab another closer here to finish out this draft. I don't think that was anything special, but we'll see in a couple of weeks. Thankfully, Soto should be coming back anytime soon, which is much needed for us. It's the All-Star break. Let's see if we got any guys voted in. Immediately, I see that the Dodgers are completely loaded with Tarek Skubal and Ronald Acuna. And somehow Tyler Mahley is not here for a starter. That's not a good sign. It looks like he started to fall back down to earth a little bit with a 2.73 ERA, but on the flip side, Alcantara's picked it back up here. Maybe the real star of our pitching staff is Colby Allard, who is one of my favorite guys, and he's going nuts this year. I also signed him for 3 years. He'll be around for a while. Our full-time guys, Paredes, Donovan, India, have all been pretty good. Jordan Adams is doing just fine, and I do see that our rookie Howard Dennison is above a 710 OPS, improving nicely, but not really impressing just yet. And finally, Jake McCarthy and Sean Murphy are not doing too hot. I thought Murphy was doing a little bit better at the plate, but like I mentioned, his defense gives him a really high floor, and he's got at least 1.5 WAR. We shouldn't need him for too long because Tyler Gleason in the farm system is improving very well and having a pretty good season down there in AAA. Before we look at the pitchers, the other guy I need to check on is Juan Escobar, and it doesn't seem like things are going too well. I don't need to rush him up right now. Let's put him down to AA for the rest of the season. He is our most important prospect. I can't screw this up. Our best performing prospect is actually Larry Calhoun from the last draft class. He's got some great contact versus right, improving his discipline. The only issue is that his defense is terrible, so we've got to figure something out once he comes up to the show. Juan Soto is finally back. Thank God. That makes me feel a lot better about this team. Finishing out July, we are still atop the division here, 63-45, 2.5 games ahead of the Braves, who are in pursuit. I think we should have some decent draft picks here. Let's take a look. Chavez coming in right towards the top of his potential range, 64 overall. He is going to be a project, but he's got elite speed, projects as a center fielder, and the hitting stats should eventually get to league average or a little better. The only drawback is he's 23, so he probably will have a short prime if we get to see him in this video. I am very glad that I took this closer in the second round. That is the weakest part of our farm system by far, and like I said, these good relievers don't grow on trees. There's usually a lot of good ones at the beginning of one of these rebuilds, and then they get worse as time goes on. Chavis is also 6'5", 237, so an intimidating presence on the mound. 85 potential is the lowest pick in the draft class here for Dick Haas. A lot of our guys are going to be projects, that'll be a theme here, but the good news is he has good contact right out of the gate. He should be able to play in AA within a season. Anyway, back to our next prospect here. Jim Hahn got better and better during the signing period and got up to 94 potential, 51 overall with a contact build. He looks really good. Kenny Hillman out right here with 86 potential, 50 overall. Kind of unnecessary to have 71 bunt, but all right. And finally, another closer here, Isaiah Morrison. Project, but left-handed, good projections. I really like this class. The only question is, are we going to get to see anybody in this video? Because they are all projects. Our best bet is going to be either Chavez or Chavis. We add some more great prospects to the farm system, and now we're going through August here, and we do end up splitting the series against Miami. There's not a whole lot of division games here during this month. And we're sitting at 20 games, now 21 games above 500, catching some wins here, and I'm feeling pretty good that we're going to make the playoffs for sure. We finished the month with a series victory against the Marlins, and we've taken the first 2 against Philly as it's time for September call-ups. I think we should give Moses Austin a shot. I need to know if I can rely on him at all next year, and it would be nice to see if he can do it in the major leagues. Austin makes his debut today against the Braves in division, and Soto already gave him a cushion with a solo shot in the first. He has got a deep arsenal, fastballs, curveballs, changeups. It's just taken him a little bit to get to the show because the hits per 9 and walks per 9 are not quite at the level I would like. That's grounded to third, and it's his first career out. Can Austin put up a scoreless first facing this dangerous Braves lineup? 3-2 pitch to Riley. Got him! Our first base prospect Dennison has been okay this year. He's still crowding the plate at levels never before seen. I'm pretty sure this is legitimately illegal. His foot is outside the box as he grounds out to second. Things get sideways here in the second as 4 straight hits bring home 3 runs and now a 2-run shot, and Austin is not off to a good start. If we can manage to avoid the Braves in the postseason this time, that would be great as we try to make a comeback but end up losing 6-5. We're well up in the division, so it can't hurt to give Austin some chances here in the majors. Escobar did end up having a great season in AA, so he will start next year in AAA again, and we'll see if he's ready for the show at some point next year. And with a week left into the season, we have clinched the postseason once again. We are on pace to have a better win record than last year as we sweep Washington, and now we take on Philly and end up losing that series, but we finished the year 95-67. Things are starting to come together for us in this rebuild. I was not confident that we would beat our 91 win total from last year, but we did. Soto was excellent despite losing some playing time with that injury. He did still get 133 games, so he played the majority of the year. Paredes and India were good. Some of our bench guys and not full-time guys were solid. I can't complain with Brendan Donovan or Christian Koss. McCarthy did about what I expected, but I am concerned that he started to regress, and we've got 3 more years on this deal, although it's very team-friendly. Sean Murphy served his role as our backup catcher, but I'm looking forward to our prospect coming up next year. As a team, we were the 9th most effective offense, and that was mostly due to our strong on-base percentage. Allard and Lazar were far and away our most reliable bullpen arms. We're going to hope that they pitch a lot in the postseason. Allard had 132 innings this year. I might as well make him a starter. And the addition of Tyler Mahle proved to be very good for us. 13-7 record, 184 innings at a 2.83 ERA. I'm feeling more confident with our playoff rotation with Alcantara and Mahle at the top, not to mention that both John Nash and Javier Assad were fine. Unfortunately, things did not go too well for Moses Austin. I'll probably put him in long relief next year and just let him work it out here at the show. The only problem is there are some real juggernauts in this save file. The Braves are nasty, the Dodgers of course, and also on the other side of the bracket in the AL, the Red Sox are amazing. You can see that the Dodgers had 104 wins, the Reds also had 93, which snuck up on me. But the Red Sox had 109. They're the best team in the league. And we also got an award, Hank Aaron for Juan Soto, and a Rookie of the Year for Dennison. The Dodgers swept the MVP race. They are going to be a problem. The man of the title of this video was the best overall hitter in the league this year with the Hank Aaron Award. He has added some awards during this video, but has not gotten an MVP. Alright, that's enough of me yapping. Let's get into this postseason run. Here we go for playoff run number 2, and we are taking on the Reds, who won the NL Central, and as we saw, we're a pretty good team. Is this the year it all starts right here in Citi Field? Sandy on the mound, can he lead us to victory in Game 1? He had a great year, and I've got a lot of confidence in him, but that's a good swing right out of the gate, but Juan Soto is there. Here's the Reds lineup with Happ, the Pasquatch, and Ellie De La Cruz right in the middle. And we will be taking on Hunter Green, who is a dominant strikeout pitcher. Huge key to victory for us in the postseason is Juan Soto. He is definitely our best hitter by far, and he's still in the middle of his prime. If anybody's going to get a hit off Green, it's probably Soto, but he's early on 99. Ellie is better from the left side, and he's going to ground that through the hole to lead off the second. 2 on and nobody out now as Carson Kelly steps up to the plate. Thankfully, he strikes out. Sandy can get out of this jam. Just one more strike to get. Matt McClain at the plate. And there's strike 3. Now we're in a real jam. Bases loaded, nobody out for the middle of the Reds order, but that might be a clutch double play. We'll trade a run for those 2 outs. Luis Robert Jr. doubles the Reds' lead with a solo shot. And Green's been pretty much mowing us down so far. Maybe the second time through the order will be better. Paredes, Soto, and India do up this inning. Paredes is going to get us on the board with a no-doubter. That is exactly what we needed to spark some offense. Mets' second best hitter of the year behind Soto, Jonathan India, coming up with a laser into the left center field gap. Get up, and that is out of here. Bring up the apple, it's tied. Very similar stat lines here between the 2 aces, just more strikeouts for Green. And unfortunately, right away, Alcantara gives the lead back to the Reds on a solo shot from Ian Happ. So we find ourselves down 1 in the 6th, but with a leadoff runner on. And Green is out of this game. Soto at the plate. That might be a double play to second for 1. Ellie with that great arm to first in plenty of time. Sean Murphy with a 2-run shot. We're back in the lead. I wish I entered the game again. This has been a really good matchup, and I expect this to be a great series. Colby Allard coming in a setup role with back-to-back walks. He has got to get out of this to keep us in front here in Game 1. A 1-2 pitch on the way. Strike 3. Here comes the closer, Max Lazar. This game is on a knife's edge right now. That's a grounder. Could be a double play to second for 1. India to first for 2. No, he's safe. That means Ian Happ is going to get an at-bat here. He is already 3 for 4 today, and he draws a walk. Our high-leverage guys struggling in the 9th. Bases loaded. Pasquantino at the plate, and Lazar stabs it to win the game. What a Game 1. This is going to be an exciting series. Up 1-0 in the series now. I am simulating Game 2, which we end up losing with Mahle on the mound. Now for the first game in Cincinnati, we take the win, and we've got a chance to clinch here in Game 4. Red starter is Luis Heel coming over from New York. This is another strikeout pitcher, and he is absolutely broken in this roster at 95 overall. It's the mathematician John Nash for us on the mound today, coming off of his best season yet. 6'5" with a 5-pitch mix and a slightly sidearm delivery. In this Mets uniform, he's kind of looking like Jacob deGrom, maybe with a few more pounds on him. That's a hung curveball down the middle, but it's popped up, thankfully. Jake McCarthy. There's a crack of the bat into left center field. Back to the track, to the wall, gone. Solo shot for the center fielder. We strike first. Based on what I've seen, it seems like almost everybody except for Juan Soto has been good in the postseason as the Reds quickly tie it up here. Maybe Juan could turn it around right here. Big spot, bases loaded, 1 out. Got the chance to really break this game open with a base hit. That might be a double play to second. Ellie over to first. It is. It is not a good sign when your best player is not coming up clutch in big moments in the postseason, but thankfully Jonathan India is. It's 2-1 Mets. And so far so good from John Nash. He's through 4. And Nash had a great start today. He turns it over to Colby Allard. Allard looking for 2 clean innings in relief here in Game 4. That's popped up into right. Soto's got it, and Allard gets the job done. And he makes way for our closer, Max Lazar. Just 1 strike away from defeating the Reds and moving on in this series, and there it is on a strikeout. That was a very tight series. We won 2 out of our 3 games by just 1 run and a 3-1 victory there in the decider. And our reward for that is getting to take on the Dodgers, who are an absolute powerhouse. We've already taken a step forward because we lost to the NLDS last year, and now we've made it to the CS. But if we could take down this team, I'm going to be blown away because their rotation includes 98 overall Yamamoto, 96 overall Sasaki, 94 overall Skubal, and of course, Shohei Ohtani. In their lineup, they have 99 overall Acuna, 99 overall Will Smith, 96 overall Steven Kwan, 92 overall Mookie Betts, 91 overall Luis Arraez. This team is disgusting. Here we go. I'm going to simulate some games because I'm not liking our chances. We lose Game 1. We lose Game 2. That was close. Now we go home for Game 3. We're already down 3-0. And in Game 4, we do take a victory. We're going to have to run the tables, though, if we're going to win this series. I'm simulating Game 5, and we're eliminated by the Dodgers. If we're going to compete with them, we're going to have to get a lot better as they defeat the Royals in the World Series. Now, this is the part of the video where I tell you that this is going to be maybe the most challenging offseason of this video, and it's because we're at a crossroads where so many of our prospects are about to come up, and I'm also losing some guys that we've drafted. You know, it starts to turn into a little bit more of a draft-only rebuild. I can't trade, and I'm limited to 3 free agents, right? So if we take a look at the depth chart, and this will all come together a little bit in a second here. If I go to next year, you can see that we've got our generational prospect coming up in left. We've got McCarthy in center. We are going to be losing a shortstop, although we have Christian Koss, but we do have Greg Whitman coming up, who's going to, projects to be 80 overall next year. Great defense. Plate skills should round out by then. Matsui's also coming up to play middle infield. First base is loaded. We've got a ton of options here, so not worried about first base at all. I'm hesitant to sign a Volpe for 8 years or a Perdomo for 5 years because we've got these prospects coming up who, are a year away from being really good and a hell of a lot cheaper. Now, where we could run into trouble is on the pitching side, which is not usually the case for me in these rebuilds. Moses Austin is our best prospect coming up, but we saw he didn't do too well in his cup of coffee in the majors last year. I've still got John Nash for 3 more seasons, so that is good. We're going to be leaning on him quite a bit. He's at his max potential, though. I believe it was 82 or 83. And then we're losing Alcantara and Maile next year. So pitching could become a problem. Similar to our hitters, we've got 2 prospects that are just about a year away from coming up to the show who I both think are going to be very good. So we've got that to look forward to, but there's nobody with high A potential down here, which again is not super typical for me in the rebuilds. So basically the way I'm looking at things is our outlook in the field is really promising. I don't want to go in too crazy on any long-term position player deals, but our outlook for pitching is not quite as good right now. So with that in mind, here's the 2 guys that I've settled on initially. We're going after one of the biggest targets, Brian Wu, 30 years old, incredible stats, basically max out hits per 9 and walks per 9. That's amazing. He's actually coming off of not a great year, but 2.5 to 3, 2.3 ERA is where he projects, and this is a guy that you want at the very top of your rotation. Now he's going to be incredibly expensive. We are the Mets, so we'll be able to afford it. The other guy I'm looking at initially here is Brent Rooker, who would be a 1 or 2 year rental, and he's really just a masher. I need somebody that can hit lefties well. He's got good contact against lefties, but he also spanks righties too with 99 power. So the way I'm piecing things together is we slot Rooker in as our DH against righties, which is where I had Drew Gilbert right now, who should be a fine bench piece, and then versus lefties he comes in and plays first base in Howard Dennison's spot. There is a good chance that I do end up signing some kind of a reliever this year, and maybe a lefty reliever especially, and Brian Hudson is looking very enticing here. He's only 32. I think I could give him like 2 or 3 years. 52%, I'm going to risk it and go for 1 more week. It's because I don't want to give him 7 years. I'm okay with doing 6, but in order to give him 6, I need to have a little bit more motivation. I am going to offer Brent Rooker a deal, though, and we're just going to go for exactly what he wants. All right, here we go. Brent Rooker, first try. Welcome to the team. So he's DHing against righties, and then he's going to play first base against lefties. Dennison will move to the bench. I'm going to get a little crazy and go for 5 years. We'll bump him up to 40, $200 million contract, and let's just see how it goes. I think with Hudson here at 71%, I'm going to go for a 3-year deal, and we're going to bring him down to maybe 3 years, $8 million. Let's see how that goes. All right, Brian Hudson, contract decision. Welcome to the team. We're 2 for 2 on the first try. This is the big one. Brian Wu, and we got pens. Oh, that is perfect. The type of deal that I wanted. Massive deal. $40 million a year for a starter. Number 1 free agent, Paul Skeens, to the Blue Jays. 8 years, 50, and he was starting to regress. I think I showed you that. That's why I didn't want to give him a deal. With this top 3, very, very good for the postseason. And after these moves, here is where our budget is at, $260 million. We are up there. Look at Soto and Wu's contracts. Joe Random's popping up in the Rule 5 now. We've gotten into the meat of this rebuild for sure. I need a relief pitcher, big time, and I would not be opposed to a middle infielder as well for the bench. Brad Lord. That is going to be our reliever. Good hits per 9. Also, good stamina. So if I need to put him in the starting rotation, that'll work just fine. I don't really want him to pitch this year, but I'm also going to pick up the lefty Brandon Clark with very good clutch. Gonna have to hide him in long relief, though, for the next season. Infield and utility, Nate Eaton available, 79 overall. There were some other big moves in our division as well this offseason. The Phillies signed Wyatt Langford for a 4-year deal. The Nationals signed Matt McClain and Nolan Shonwell. Looks like they might be going forward a little bit. Opening day 2030 is upon us. Former Astro, Paredes leading off. We have got our work cut out for us today against Sanchez as we start the year with a grounder to third. This team is really good, and it could get even better if the Kingpin, Escobar, joins us in the outfield at some point this season. And can Juan Soto get another full season in him? He's still at 99 overall. The regression is beginning for him. Down 1-2, Sanchez deals, and that's strike 3. The biggest contract we have given out so far for Brian Wu. Not as good last year, but I expect that he's going to be our ace for a long time. We have a 3-headed monster. For the pitching staff, strike 3 from Wu. Part of the reason we struggled against lefties last year is Donovan lost about 15 contact versus that side of the plate. Hoping to turn that around this season. He did not see lefties at all last year. There we go! Donovan in the left and into the Crawford boxes. That is a very good sign. Brian Wu's got some very good control so far today, putting all the pitches where he wants them. He gets Clark to strike out. Facing Yordan for a second time here. 1-2 pitch, grounded hard to first, and nice play by Rooker. I did not sign him for his defense, that is for sure, but he ranges to the backhand there and makes a nice throw to Wu. Going back and forth here, the Astros tie it up, but Wu also has a lot of stamina, so he is able to stay in the game for a long time, and that makes him more valuable. As many innings as possible, as a triple from McCarthy gives us the lead again. Max Lazar, 2028 reliever of the year. He's been so good in this video. Our closer once again. Lazar struggling with his command. All of a sudden, this game has got a little more interesting, and he walks Alvarez. And now he's in a full count to Carlos Correa. Here's the pitch. Lined into center for a base hit. Our first appearance for Brian Hudson doesn't get much higher leverage than this. Hudson trying to send this game to extras. Liner from Nyans. Throws home. It is not going to get there. The Astros walk us off. Uncharacteristic blown save from Lazar there as the Astros end up sweeping us in the first series of the year, and we're turning around, and now we end up taking 2 of 3 from Miami, including 15 runs here in this game. And despite the opening series sweep, we start the year 500. I am curious to see how Moses Austin's first start went. Not good. We pick at 27 and 31 this year, which actually works out pretty well for us, and I'm not opposed to taking some pitchers or even some more closers. We're going to need some further help in the back end of the bullpen. This guy looks like he might be a later round gem of a closer. Much better second start of the year for Moses Austin, 6 1/3 innings pitched, giving up just 1 run. Meanwhile, Bryan Woo has been excellent, but we still don't have any winning decisions for him. Speaking of Bryan Woo, he's working on a complete game shutout against the Twins here early in the season. And former Met from last season, Sean Murphy, comes to the plate. He did not hit too well for us in a Mets uniform, and he swings and misses here in a Twins one. Excellent outing from Woo. I'm feeling pretty good about that signing here early into the season. I'm not feeling too great about our record right now, though. We are 9-12. Lineup hasn't really picked it up just yet, and unfortunately the rookie Tyler Gleason is struggling at the plate so far in the catching role. I do expect that, but he's got a high ceiling, a lot of room for growth, and right now he's 26 years old. It was time to get him up to the show. And I managed to find the #1 player in the class with the first person I scouted here, power-hitting shortstop Michael Blunt. Now, unfortunately, with our later pick, we might not be able to get him. I'd rather find that guy than not, and I do also see that we found some promising pitching prospects who moved up the board, but there's been too many guys that look like this with low walks per 9. The recognizable batting stance of Howie Dennison coming to the plate here. We're down 1 against Philly, looking for a sweep. He grounds that over to second. It's up to Jonathan India here if we're going to come back in this game, and Jonathan India is going to walk it off. Deep into right center, oppo shot. That does complete our sweep as we aim to get back to 500, and we are not able to do it after back-to-back losses to the Nationals. I do have a better update, though, on the scouting side, as this Discovery starter, Alejandro Herrera, does look really good. Braves are leading the way at 21-12, and we're right there with the Phillies and Marlins in the middle of the pack. Herrera continues to move up the board, now the 4th-ranked player in the class. He's an early favorite for our first-round pick. Bryan Woo has been incredible with a 1.33 ERA so far, and 3 lefties in the pen. Sal Frank, Allard, and Hudson have also been really good. After a 5-1 week, we surge up to 22-18, just a game behind the Braves now, and on the scouting side, I did find another good first-round option at third base and first base, Stuart Don. Moving ahead now to the start of June, and we have surged up the leaderboard here, 35-23 in first place, 3 games ahead of the Phillies. Offensively, we started to hit our stride here, tied for 5th in runs scored, right there with the Reds and the Yankees. Ahead of us are the Phillies. And it looks like the pitching staff has started to trend in the right direction as we're 6th in ERA, and who is in the middle there between Woo and Alcantara? It's Moses Austin. My real concern right now is the bullpen. Most of these guys have ERAs over 4. There's a couple guys doing all right here, and it looks like Brule's bouncing back. We're in week 9 of scouting, and I've already started to look at some relievers. This guy has really good hits per 9 and walks per 9 and could fit into majors pretty soon with a high floor and a high ceiling. As far as the starters, I've moved over to the East region, and I've found another good discovery option here, Herb McKinley, with high hits per 9 and high walks per 9. This should be a good test for us. We're heading into a 4-game series against the Dodgers here. Xavier Curry manages to close that game out. We do lose game 2, we lose game 3, and we end up losing the series. After losing that series versus the Dodgers, I think it's time to activate the kingpin, Juan Escobar. He is hitting very well in AAA. With Brendan Donovan playing just okay and starting to regress, I think his positional flexibility could be good on the bench, and I'm putting Juan Escobar in the lineup. It is Escobar's debut, and he leads off the second here in Colorado. Very shocking that we were able to get a generational player on this team, considering where we were at in the rebuild. We got lucky and jumped up from 8 to 2 in that draft, if you recall, which I don't think that has ever happened, and that has led us to this moment here with Escobar at the plate. Can we have some fireworks in Colorado? Could maybe he hit a home run in his debut? Here's a 2-2 from Caminiti. That's softly hit into right, and he flies out to start his career. He showed some good plate discipline today. He's facing a first-round closer here for the Rockies. 86 overall Johnny Mott. 3-2 pitch. He draws a walk. McCarthy would double in a run, and now we score another one up 3-1. Max Lazar shuts things down, and we do win in the Kingpin's debut 3-1. I might have another prospect coming up here in short order. Look at Larry Calhoun's stats in AAA. Almost a 1.1 OPS right now. Also, very importantly, Antonio Vasquez, our best pitching prospect, has a 2.64 ERA in AAA. That is massive. I need to add him to the 40-man before I forget. Week 14 of scouting, we're getting towards the end here, and I just found a gem of a closer. Theo Kohler started this draft not ranked and is now looking like maybe the best closer in the class. Do not forget to look super deep in the draft classes. You never know what you're going to find. As far as the team, it's a very close race here between us and the Braves and the Phillies, just 2 games and 2.5 games behind us. We have had some division series recently. We won this one against Atlanta. We won this one against Philly, but then we split this one here against Atlanta 4-game series. Scouting went pretty well, and I should be able to get exactly what I'm looking for in this draft. If I can't get the number 1 player, power hitting shortstop Michael Blunt, then I'm going to take the best of any of these pitchers: Ken Drew, Felipe Andino, Robert Lemieux, or even Pablo Sixto, although I'm not as sold on him. We've got some great gems of position players as well for the mid-rounds or maybe a late round, and then I have this closer that I mentioned before, Theo Keller. I should be able to get him no problem. I've also got this reliever that I really like, Russell Schreiber. I'd love to be able to get him late, but he's probably going to be gone by the time our 3rd pick comes around. If I can't get him, I've got another reliever here, Doug Ramirez, who should have guaranteed high potential. Well, we did get screwed a little bit here. I lost Felipe Andino to the 8th pick. I lost Ken Drew, probably my favorite pitcher, to the 11th pick. And then, of course, Michael Blunt is taken 14th. Thankfully, I had 4 options to choose from, and Robert Lemieux, Mario's son, is still on the board. 5th-ranked pitcher, and he's also left-handed with very good walks per 9 and great velocity. The control in the break is not so good, but he should still be a very solid starter. I'm hoping that Theo Keller is not going to get taken because he was so far back in the draft class that I feel like I need to wait. And call me crazy, I think we've got enough position players in the farm system. I'm going with this relief pitcher. Guys with this kind of build just don't grow on trees, and he's not far from the show. I'm going to risk it again here with the 104th pick. I'm thinking that either Herb or Theo is going to fall to the next round, and I've got to get at least one position player. I've got a gem of a right fielder here, Felipe Calzado. Let's go with him. So far, things are going mostly to plan here, and Theo is still on the board for pick 134. I've got to take him here. Theo's got a lot of aura. Look at that goatee. Look at the sport goggles. Count me in. Probably my favorite discovery pitcher was Herb McKinley, and he is still here at pick 164. This is a no-brainer. The board thinned out quite a bit. I'm not as thrilled about Steven Lopez as some of the other guys, but I do think he is my best option left, and that is how I'm going to finish this draft. Okay, we're here at the All-Star break. It's time to do a little bit of diagnostics on the team, and right now we are still in first place, but the Braves are 1 game behind. We are still in the top 10 in runs scored, but we're not quite as potent of an offense as I would have thought. There are obviously 8 other teams that are better than us, including the Red Sox, who have Gunnar Henderson and Roman Anthony at the top. They have 550 runs. We're a little bit stronger here on the pitching side with Wu, Austin, and Nash leading the way. We are in 4th in ERA. One guy I need to put you onto that I haven't talked a lot about is a shortstop prospect, 24-year-old Greg Whitman. He has finally broken out this year. We drafted him way back in round 1 of 2026. He's finally figured it out at the plate, and defensively, he is definitely projecting as the shortstop of the future here for the Metros. I think that him and Larry Calhoun are probably the next guys in line. As I always like to do with my generational players, I'm giving a super early extension to Juan Escobar. We want to have him on the books here and in our team for this entire rebuild. I'm happy with the team. We should be in position to get another playoff spot, and let's just keep pushing forward this season. Our current face of the franchise is 4 for 4 today as we're tied in the bottom of the 9th against the Angels. So Eaton's now in scoring position, and by the way, Soto is just a triple away from the cycle. I still haven't been able to catch one on camera in a rebuild that is roasted into right, and it gets past the right fielder. We're going to walk this game off. In this guy's defense, that was a laser beat from Soto. Look at how far that carried and how fast it was hit. It's a hard ball to read. Good attempt. Oh, that's Teoscar. Oh, that's Teoscar. Hernandez bricks on that one, and a 5 for 5 Soto wins us this game. It is August 2nd, and we have lost our first place spot here to the Braves. We've seen a lot of them in this video. They've obviously got a nasty lineup, but this clip is all about viewing our draft picks. Let's take a look. That felt like a pretty good and important draft, and I think overall, first signs look decent. Let's start with the starting pitcher from the first round. Left-hander Robert Lemieux has the walks per 9 with a ton of velo. He's going to pound the zone. I'm going to jump down to our other starter, Herb McKinley, and I think he does project a little better than Lemieux does overall despite the lower potential. The clutch is bad, and he's not going to strike anybody out. And our last starter, I mentioned I didn't love Steven Lopez, and this is why. He's got C potential, probably not going to make the field. Let's look at the positives, though, starting with this relief pitcher, Russell Schreiber. I might even be able to throw him in the majors next year if we're really hurting for relievers, which I'm predicting that could be an issue down the road. But at this point, this is our 4th reliever, and I like our 4th reliever and closer that I've drafted, and I do like Russell Schreiber. He's got the hits per 9 and the walks per 9. And the 5th reliever we've drafted is Theo Kohler. Really like this guy. High hits per nine, should round out nicely, 94 potential. And then our only position player was right fielder Felipe Calzado, and no complaints here. 89 potential, pretty much a potential, just shy of it. I think when I closed out of the draft menu, I felt a little better about things, but I don't hate the draft, and there were some important picks here. The unfortunate one is I couldn't get Michael Blunt here. Look at that power at short. This guy projects to be a really, really good player, and 64 overall at 18. I wish we could have got him. After that last draft and our 3 closers in the farm system, I'm feeling pretty good that we should be fine in the bullpen for a while, and 2 of these guys are lefties as well, so I think I can go back to my more typical strategies going forward. Back to this season, though, where we are trying to come back and take over that first place spot. We've lost this series against the Giants, who are very bad, and we come back here against Cleveland and end up sweeping the series. We get back at the Braves later in the month, winning this series, and we've got a ton of division games here, now taking on Philly. We've won the first 2, and now we're looking for a sweep. I am simulating this one as they do take us down, and now we face Miami. We lose the first, lose the second, and now Brian Wu, going for a complete game shutout, looks like he did it. So all that yapping by me and all those games played and simulated, we're in the same spot, still a half game up. We don't play the Braves at all here in September, but we do play the Reds, who are very good, amazing pitching staff, and we managed to win all 3 games before we now take on a 4-game series against Philly. We've now won 5 straight, make that 6, make that 7. Brent Rooker is on fire right now and up to 40 home runs on the season, 114 RBI, and take a look at Juan Escobar. He is also on fire, and he's moved up to 88 overall. Look at this development this year. We would end up winning 11 in a row here. It's been a great September for us as we cruise towards the postseason. Bad news, though, as Tyler Gleason, our young catcher, has broken his hand, and he is going to be out for the rest of the season and the playoffs. Even though he wasn't hitting that well with how good his defense is, he was up to almost 2 WAR in his rookie year. I'm not willing to put Escobar at catcher, so we're going to be relying on our backup, Eliezer Alfonso. I thought we might have a shot at 100 wins this year, but as we come to the end of this season, oh, hang on a second. I needed to interrupt myself because one of our young pitcher prospects, Antonio Vasquez, is trying to complete a complete game shutout here in what I believe is his 2nd career start. I believe he has Zach Wheeler's animation, and with a 4-pitch mix, 4-seam sinker, cutter, and changeup. Jorbin Bibas, weakly into center. McCarthy makes the catch, and that is a complete game shutout. He only gave up 1 hit and 1 walk. He's going to be a big part of our rotation going forward. And now, simming to the end of the season, we finished 94 and 68. With 94 wins, we were a little bit better than the Brewers, but we're still behind the Padres and quite a bit behind the Dodgers. And over in the AL, the Red Sox won 115 games. Sadly, no awards for us. I thought we might be able to get a Rookie of the Year, but Escobar got beaten out by Cash Mayfield. We do have a league leader, and that is Brian Wu for a lot of things. He was exceptional this year, 2.26 ERA, and he maxed out up to 99 overall, and he pitched 220 innings. Brent Rooker did his job, Paredes with a good year, Donovan with a good year despite some serious regression. I also see Howie Dennison took a step forward this year with great development to his hitting stats, up to 82 overall. He is still quite a bit stronger against righties. We've been about the same team here, a good team for the last 3 years. We went 91 wins, 95 the year before, and then 94 this year. I'm feeling good about things, but there's just quite a few powerhouses in this save file right now. And here's our pitching rotation. It is great to see that all 4 of our guys are hot right now, but I went into this year feeling a little bit better about things. Obviously, Wu was nails, but Alcantara, Maley, and Nash, nobody quite pitched like a playoff 2. And who else but the Atlanta Braves will be our first round matchup? And with Brian Wu on the mound today, we have got to win this game. The Braves lineup is still pretty good, although their pitching rotation is not quite as good as it was towards the beginning of this video, as AJ Smith-Shawver is their Game 1 starter and Christian Koss gives us an early lead. Soto extends the lead with a 2-run shot, and we're up 4-0 early. Into the 6th now, and we're up 6-2, and Brian Wu's been solid overall despite giving up those 2 runs. It is Rule 5 pickup from a couple years ago. Andrew Salfrank in to close off Game 1. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and strike 3. Wu gets the dub, and that was a pretty straightforward Game 1. Great start for the Mets here in the DS as we go for Game 2. Sandy Alcantara on the mound. We end up losing 0-1. Offense couldn't get any runs for him. We now go to Atlanta, and we lose Game 3. And that means Game 4 is an elimination game for us all of a sudden. Jack Flaherty's taking the mound for the Braves. Trying to get on the board early here in the first. We've got 2 on and 1 out for Escobar. He swings through that slider. And that brings up Howie, showing his dominance over home plate. Standing 2 inches away from it, draws a walk. The bases are loaded. Now would be a good time for Jonathan India to get a base hit. 33rd pitch of the inning for Flaherty. India swings and misses. On the mound for us today is the mathematician John Nash, coming off of a pretty good year. I'm pretty surprised our backs are already against the wall. I thought after game 1 we should be able to take this series, but it's looking like it's going to be a little closer than I expected. Another chance in the top of the second, 2 on, 2 out, 3-2 pitch to Juan Soto, hit well, deep to right, and to the track, it is caught. 2 missed opportunities already. I'm sure that's not going to come back to bite us at all, right? Huge moment early in game 4. Bases loaded. Colson Montgomery now at the plate. A 1-2 pitch to him. Backdoor curveball for strike 3. It's the backup catcher Alfonso that gets us on the board here, 1-0, and Flaherty's getting low on energy. Braves do tie it up with a solo shot from Luis Robert Jr. We've got 2 on and nobody out in the top of the 5th. Surely we get some runs this time. The generational rookie left fielder Juan Escobar at the plate. 2-2 pitch on the way. Smoked, but right to shortstop. First rounder from 2027, Hungry Howie. What do you got? 3-2 pitch, hit into right, deep to the track, and caught. So many opportunities, we are not taking advantage of any of them. India goes down looking. This has been a very frustrating game for us so far, and it gets worse as Baldwin hits a 2-run homer. The Braves are so loaded in the back end of their bullpen that Felix Bautista is their 7th inning pitcher, and Howie lines that into left for a base hit. Still 2 on here in the 7th for Jonathan India. Daysbel Hernandez on the mound. He strikes him out. Jake McCarthy with a solo shot in the 8th. We are tied up. And with the season on the line, it's one of our 3 free agents from the offseason, Brian Hudson, coming in. One more got to get. It's a red-hot Colson Montgomery. That is murdered. And it's a walk-off bomb as the Braves eliminate the Mets. Hard to watch that happen. Our high-leverage lefty, Brian Hudson, comes into the game and blows it. Not a surprise at all, the dominant Red Sox defeat the Dodgers in the 2030 World Series. That was probably a pretty good matchup. Both the 1 seeds made it in the end. And that is a tough one to take because we are losing some of the key members of our team here in this offseason. 6 seasons down for us in this video. The last 3 years, we've had a pretty solid team. We've made it to the DS twice and the CS once, but we still have not gotten to the World Series. And even when we do get there, it's going to be a challenge because we'll probably be facing those Red Sox. So I'm always retooling every year, and the way things are lining up right now, I'm looking at bringing in Cal for a season to get behind the dish. He should be able to add some punch to the lineup. I want to bring Tobias Myers in to eat some innings for a year so I don't bring all of our pitching prospects up at the same time. That could get really expensive in a few seasons, and in the last spot here, I've got Ronnie Henriquez. I need to bring a relief pitcher in for a couple seasons, and you might say, oh, you just drafted a bunch of them. That is true. We have Russell Schreiber coming up, who we just drafted last year, but I want to let him develop for a season and prove that clutch a little bit. I also made Richard Sable a relief pitcher. He's not quite ready with the hits per 9. And we had a Rule 5 pickup from last year, Brandon Clark, who did not get a lot of time but didn't pitch well last season, so I'm kind of waiting on him to develop too. And yes, we've got a bunch of closers, but again, none of them are quite ready just yet. Well, it's looking like I'm not going to have much of a chance here. We've got to offer Cal a deal right away, and I'm just going to go for 1 year and bump it up a little bit and throw our hat in the ring, but I don't think we're going to have a good shot at this. He is going to the Blue Jays for 3 years. I think the next best move here is for us to try to bring back Jonathan India. Now, he wants 3 years. I only want to go 1 because of our prospects coming up, and let's see if he'll accept a deal for just 1. Our division just got a lot tougher next year. Look at the middle of your screen, these last 4 transactions at the top. Marlins, Cade Horton. Braves, Augustin Ramirez. Braves, Nick Kurtz. Phillies, Chase Burns. I had to way overpay him, and Jonathan India is still not coming back. He accepted the 3-year deal. I really can't think of any better options for us, so let's try to get Brent Rooker back for 1 more year. I'm not sure why this keeps happening. I already offered Brent Rooker a deal, but it's giving me this now or never. It feels like some kind of glitch in this game. The same thing happened with Jonathan India. Maybe it's just something I don't quite understand. That's very possible, but I'm going to go for 1 year at 22. And we're getting a decision here right away, and he's coming back. So with Rooker in, this is a look at our final lineup next year, and I honestly just didn't feel too good about many free agents. We might take a little bit of a step back this year. We'll be looking for some improvement from Tyler Gleason, and hopefully Dylan Head can be solid in center field for us. Christian Koss has been a surprise at shortstop, and he's coming back for the position again at $8.5 million. Both Donovan and Paredes have started to regress pretty heavily, so we'll have to see what we can still get out of them. But most of my attention will be on Juan Soto as well as Juan Escobar. How is he going to do this year after a breakout rookie season? In the rotation, Wu is far and away our best pitcher, and then we're going with Nash, Tobias Myers, our free agent, Moses Austin, and then another rookie. Well, he did pitch a little bit last year, but Antonio Vasquez, who I do have high hopes for. In the pen, we've got Lord and Allard in long relief, who are interchangeable with any of our starters, and then a pretty familiar back end of the rotation, except for Ronnie Henriquez coming in for setup. Even though he's higher rated, I can't take that closing position away from Max Lazar. He's just been too good there. I'm going to move through this regular season pretty quickly, and I'm actually skipping over opening day, which we lost. I don't feel that great about the team this year, and I kind of just want to get through this season. We should still be able to make the playoffs. I think we're good enough for that as the season starts 4-4, dead on 500. I'm really just looking forward to getting more of our prospects up here and kind of retooling things, out with the old and in with the new as we look ahead. While I'm looking at the rotation, I see that Antonio Vasquez, who had a cup of coffee in the league last year, just had a great first start to the year. This guy might be our future ace. We're getting on a roll now at 10-5, and in his third start of the year, Vasquez just went a complete game shutout. Sadly, Soto's not having a great year, and he's starting to regress a little more rapidly. That is a concern as we get later and later in this rebuild, but I do see we're having a breakout from our first baseman, Howard Dennison. We're really winning games off the strength of this rotation, as our worst ERA belongs to John Nash at 3.35. On the scouting side, I've had some pitchers jump up the board quite a bit. There's an 11th ranked closer in the class, which is insane, but I also discovered the 83rd ranked closer who looks promising. So far, my favorite position player for the first round would be shortstop Phil Murillo. May was not quite as good to us. We didn't really have many division games, but overall we didn't play quite as well as April. Soto started to turn it on a little bit, but Juan Escobar is kind of struggling so far. He's obviously a big part of our success going forward, so I need him to turn that around, and I'm glad to see that Brent Rooker, despite the regression, is having a great season. It's still our pitching staff leading the way here though, as we're second in ERA, just behind the Marlins. Week 11 of scouting, I'm working on finding some gems, and I think Ronan Gillespie is on the path to being one. I've been having a lot of fun looking for guys who start as non-ranked, not Discovery, non-ranked in the class, and seeing if they jump up the board, and I'm getting a good feeling about Ronan. Meanwhile, I've finally discovered a few good options too, both at first base in Chester Wooten and Ruben Lincoln. Lincoln's plate skills look insane, but they might be too good to be true. The first base classes have been absolutely loaded throughout this video. We do have a stretch of division games here, starting with a 4-game series against Atlanta, and we end up losing that series 3-1 before playing Miami and losing both of those games. That is not good. We're in last place. I think part of this is that our division did really well in free agency, as we saw, but we did not really get the guys that I wanted. In positive news, Gillespie is looking like a gem, and good signs here with Wooten after a week of scouting. After things started out better than I thought, things continued to go worse than I thought. Now at the end of June, we're only one game above 500. Nate Eaton's only gotten 15 at-bats, so our best full-time guy has actually been Howard Dennison at the plate. I'm very glad to see him break out. Behind him is Soto and Rooker and Donovan. All three of these guys are regressing rapidly. We're starting to cool down a bit because the rotation has bounced back to earth, and quite a few guys are pushing 4 ERAs, and John Nash is at a 4.5, which is frustrating. And after another week of scouting Wooten, he's landed at 19th, but Ruben Lincoln might actually be better, and he's the one with the great plate skills, and he's a switch hitter. I also found a good Discovery reliever that I like with high stamina. Now this is really impressive from Vasquez. We're playing the Dodgers, and he's carrying another complete game shutout into the 9th against the best offense in the league, besides maybe the Red Sox in the AL. Vasquez has nice velo and break and has a 4-pitch mix with a 4-seam, sinker, cutter, and a changeup. I really like this guy. Now Vasquez needs to cut down Chandler Simpson, which is a lot easier said than done, but that looks to be flown out. Center fielder coming over, makes the catch, and that's a complete game shutout. Soto led the offense with a 3-run shot, and by the way, that was just a 1-hitter for Vasquez, whose ERA is down to 2.77. And that victory would be the first of a 3-game sweep of the Dodgers. Maybe we're starting to turn it back around here. Lincoln rose up the board to the 5th ranked player in the class. He is for sure my first pick. This is one of those not quite generational talents, but generational hitter type of talents. As long as I get him, I'm not too worried about anybody else, to be honest, and really the pitchers were not that great. Most of them had low walks per 9 or are not going to be gettable for us at our picks. And it is my lucky day because I simulate ahead and he is still here. We're not taking any chances. This is going to be my first round pick. For my next pick, I am able to get one of the starters that I did kind of want here. Miguel Vargas rose up the board a lot and should have some good potential, probably high B. In the third round, I took too long and ended up auto-picking Luke Sandoval, who is not bad, but more of a case per none pitcher. And we've got 2 picks left, and my board started to fall apart a little bit. I don't think anybody has found Ronan Gillespie, so I want to take this closer, Jackson Morey, who should have some high potential, and now I think we're set in the bullpen for a while. Nobody found Gillespie. He's got some good defense and speed, not great plate skills, but a left-handed bat, should have high potential. That'll be my last pick. Wait, I lied. We've got one more pick. I'm not sure about Stan Sandoval. Let me take another look at the class real quick. It looks like he is by far the best option, even though he looks terrible. There's nobody else better, so we're just going with Stan. That is an interesting looking man right there. Before the All-Star break, we just took another series from the Dodgers, so I'm feeling a little better about this team than I thought. We're in 4th place here, but 8 games above 500, and 1st place is still within reach for us, which is good to see. Brian Wu is a well-deserving All-Star. It looks like we're not really winning many of the games that he's starting in, unfortunately, and he is beginning to regress. And obviously we've got a long-term and very expensive deal, but since he's 97 overall with a good build, he should be able to hold on for a while. Soto is not an All-Star this year, but Brent Rooker is. That worked out pretty well for us. Soto actually is playing better than him by OPS, but right field is just super stacked, so he did not get voted in. And I'm also seeing, even though Howard Dennison is cold, he is improving very well. Look at that contact against righties, and he's getting on base at a 352 clip, actually having a very similar year to last year. Our biggest positive surprise here is Dylan Head in center. Things are going great. 348 on base, seems to be holding it down. He's up to 3 WAR already and on a minimum contract. The biggest negative surprise is Juan Escobar. He is pushing 90 overall, but a 730 OPS for a generational player is not good enough. Thankfully, the investments in the back end of the bullpen have worked out great. Obviously, Lazar continues to be incredible, 25-3 this year, just going after it once again, and Hudson is having a huge bounce back after a terrible first season under that new contract. Lazar certainly earned it, so I extended him for one more season at $6 million, and closely behind him will probably be our starting pitcher prospect here, Antonio Vasquez, but I've decided let's just make him prove it for the rest of this year, and sometime maybe next season, he'll get an extension too. We've taken some series from LA, and we just took a series from Boston here, taking 2 out of 3. You can see at the top right, they're 73-37 on this season. They're by far the best team in the league, and that is the dragon we'll have to slay most likely if we make it to the World Series. So still in 4th place here, but within striking distance. Let's take a look at our draft picks, and the main guy I want to see here is Ruben Lincoln, who came in with 89 potential, 70 overall. Look at that hitting profile. The great thing is he can also play left field, so we can move things around out there and get him in the lineup because first base is loaded. I mentioned that Vargas is really the only starter that I wanted in this draft, and he is going to be a bit of a project, but projects nicely. Luke Sandoval kind of looks like Moses Austin, but with lower potential and more stamina. Don't love his outlook. Jackson Morey was a good pick for the bullpen. Like I said, we should be loaded up there now for a good while with plenty of arms to come in relief. Besides Lincoln, the pick of the draft was definitely Ronan Gillespie. 94 potential, 56 overall, great speed and defense. We're one game out of the wild card right now. This is going to be a very tight race as we get into August and September, the last couple months of the season. I want to give Greg Whitman some at-bats here at the end of the year against righties because I think he's our shortstop of the future once we no longer have Christian Koss, who is still developing, so I may bring him back for another year. We'll have to see. Whitman kind of looks like Moses Austin's older brother up there, if you see at the top left. I mean, it's pretty close. Pretty close. And surprisingly, Tanner Krause is actually going to join us in the majors. Obviously, his hitting stats aren't there, but he's got great speed, and we need another outfielder. 2 on here for the young shortstop Whitman, off to a good start to the career. Defensively, he's already pretty elite. It's just, is he going to offer anything? On the base pass and at the plate, stumbled on my words as he hits a 3-run shot to the chop house. We need a little spark here, and Whitman just provided it. Turning on that inside heater for a no-doubter, and check out the facial hair. I mean, yeah. And Max Lazar shuts things down. We do end up taking a back-and-forth game against the Braves. We're 6 games behind the Braves, 1 behind the Phillies, and if I take a look at the wild card, right now we're a half game out. If we can make the playoffs this year with a team that I don't love, I'd be very happy about that, as it looks like Vasquez is going for another shutout, and he's done it yet again. There's a small chance we could win this division if we could take down the Braves here, but they end up sweeping us, and in the last series of the year, we do win that series, finishing 89-73, and we'll get to play the Dodgers in the wild card. I do see we've got an award, and I've got a feeling that we might have accomplished a goal here, and Soto got an MVP for himself. I wasn't sure if we were going to make that happen in this video. He's one of the best hitters and players in this game, and he managed to do it with 44 home runs, 121 RBI, and a 967 OPS. For the first time in his career, he is the best player in the National League. There you see it, 2031 MVP, and he was also the home run champion. And our ace-to-be, Antonio Vasquez, led the league by far in shutouts with 3, and with that development and the way he performed this year, I think he's going to be our number 2 in the playoffs. If we can get a lead and carry it late into the game, I feel like we can lock it down, but the question is, can we get a lead? That is going to be a lot easier said than done as we face LA in LA for the wild card. Beautiful scenery as we're all set here for Game 1. And on the mound is Roki Sasaki, who did not have a super high ERA, but in a single game sample size, he's really tough to beat. Leading off is Brendan Donovan. He still manages to have good contact against righties. Stay fair. It does. I was just about to say we need to get off to a good start, and you can't do any better than that. By far, our best chance to win is with this guy on the mound. Nobody else in our rotation really comes close to Bryan Woo. Phenomenal regular season. Can he repeat it here in the playoffs? Chandler Simpson goes down looking. Perfect pitch. So far, so good from Bryan Woo. He's working the 4th here, but there's 2 runners on, and now the bases are loaded. Huge moment in this game. 1-2 pitch, bases loaded. Neto strikes out. Woo got him. In and out of trouble for Bryan Woo. That was phenomenal, and he's pumped up. Only 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Curry's got to work out of this jam. There's 2 outs. Lineup turns over. This is not a guy you want to see with the bases loaded. Chandler Simpson, elite speed, elite contact ability, lines it right to Whitman. We're out of it. After that leadoff home run, Sasaki struck out a lot of Mets. Juan Escobar's at the plate, and he strikes out. That is now 10 Ks for the Dodgers ace. Dominant pitching and limited offense. This has definitely felt like a playoff game today. Gleason gets into one. Back into left, sending Kwan back to the track, and he makes the catch. I do not like this matchup at all. Coach is leaving Hudson in the bottom of the 8th to face Ronald Acuna, who grounds a base hit through the right side. And now a little dribbler from DePaula gets through. There's 2 on with nobody out. I have no idea why Hudson is in this game when we've got a better righty here. Fake to first. Is that going to be a double play? What a play from Dennison. I totally misread this play. I thought Dennison faked it home and put Acuna back to the plate, but instead he decided to just go straight to second. We could have had him out easily. I'm not sure what the decision is there. And Dennison has elite defense at first, so I really don't know what just happened. I guess we just want to try to come back at the top of the 9th, and Soto leads it off. Dodgers closer Abner Uribe. He's got like a 100-mile-an-hour sinker in the bag, but hits Soto with an 89-mile-an-hour slider. Howie steps in. 2 on. Nobody out. 1-2 pitch from Uribe. He hit him too. Dodgers closer is falling apart as Brent Rooker comes to the plate. Brent Rooker, that slider was hung and he pulled it foul. Just got to get something in play here to tie this up. He swings and misses right down the middle. But we couldn't have put ourselves in a better position to come back and tie this game or take the lead. It's a squeeze play. Paredes, it's perfect. Tie ball game. Gleason at a 2-2. Biggest moment of his young career. Here's the pitch. And he got him. Very exciting game 1, and now we finally do go to Ronnie Henriquez. I wish we saw him earlier. As expected, Chandler makes his way into scoring position. A 2-2 from Henriquez is murdered by Stephen Kwan for a walk-off. Dead center. What a game, but that is a tough way to go out for us. And so we face elimination already. This time it's Vasquez taking the mound against Yamamoto. I'm going to simulate this one, and we've been eliminated. We lost that game 10-4. I didn't really expect a whole lot out of this season. At least we made the playoffs, but we did not come close to winning a title. We're losing some longtime members of the team after that season, but a lot of them were getting old and starting to regress, so I just need to retool, and we've got so many prospects we can pull from. And I want to go pretty big in free agency here, and one of the best pitchers available is the 6'9" lefty Noah Schultz. I have been itching to get a lefty in the starting rotation, and finally we can get one that is not regressing at a way too young age. The other guy I want is Bo Bichette to come in and play second base. We need another contact leadoff hitter. Normally I have a glut of pitchers at this point, but I've really only got 2 in line after Vasquez, and that's Mitchell Corey and Zach Rodriguez. Neither of them have broken out at the AAA level just yet, but they should be only about a year away. Bichette is interested right away here, so I want to offer him a deal straight out of the gate so that we can focus all our energy on Noah Schultz, who is my number 1 target. Bichette is probably going to start to regress, but the hitting stats should age well, and we could sacrifice defense at second base for a couple years. I'm okay with that. I'm going to offer him 2 years and bump it up to $24 million a year. Pretty big moment here for me in this offseason. Bo Bichette, are you in? He is. That's a big upgrade for us offensively. He's going to be our leadoff hitter probably for both years of that contract. Sadly, I'll be saying goodbye to Christian Koss this offseason. He's kind of like my hipster underground indie record of this video, just a diamond in the rough for us. Okay, it's time to go after Schultz here. I'm going to go for 5 years and bump it up just a little bit to 35. Let's get him back to 63%. Bichette was a big one. This is for sure the biggest moment of this offseason. Noah Schultz, we got the Pens. I'm now feeling a lot better about this rotation since I can put Noah Schultz in here behind Brian Wu, and the budding star Antonio Vasquez will be our 3rd starter. Still don't know what I'm going to get out of Moses Austin, and John Nash had a bad year last year, so he's probably going to be our 5. Chad Patrick is here in the Rule 5 on a $710K contract with some team control. Feels like a good pickup. He could fill in Colby Allard's role in long relief or even get some spot starts if we need. I'm going to pick him up. The main reason I'm here, though, is to grab a backup catcher. I'm going to go with Omar Alfonso, who's got some good discipline, average defense, and that way Tyler Gleason can get a little bit of rest. I think he played too many games last year, and that's probably why he was always tired out. It is not opening day. It's actually game 2 of the season. We did win opening day, and I finally feel good about this team again. And the reason I'm in game 2 is because I want to see this man, Noah Schultz. I've been looking for the right lefty for 7 years now, and finally found our guy. We've got a great 1 and 2 in the rotation again. I think we were ranked 5th in pitching going into this year, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the regular season and a difference maker for us in the postseason. First batter of the year, Starlin Cabra, 2-2 pitch, strike 3, that was the slider. Our rookie, right fielder, Larry Calhoun. Phenomenal hitting stats out of this guy. I've just been waiting for his defense to become passable enough to get in right field. He's worked a full count here, and we should have a good shot at a Rookie of the Year award for Calhoun with how good those hitting stats are. And on the 3-2, he smokes one into right, get up, diving play, not made. And with that speed, Calhoun finds himself on 3rd, his first major league hit. And so with the runner on 3rd, Soto at the plate, lines one in the left, and we're on the board early. This will be Paredes' last year of his deal, and he has regressed a lot. He was batting in the leadoff spot, and he's now all the way down in the 6th hole as he lifts one in the left towards the gap. Is that going to get down? It will. Top 8, we're still up 3-0, and Schultz is still in the game here with 2 outs. Runner on 1st, facing the top of the Marlins lineup here, Starlin Cabra. 3-2 pitch from Noah Schultz, and he got him. Heater, 96. What a start to his Mets career. Noah Schultz dominating today. I'm going to bring up Seiya Suzuki. 1-2 pitch, strike 3, Lazar with the save. Noah Schultz has been amazing so far, but it is a slow start to the year as it looks like we might have an injury here. And that is not good. Dylan Head, our starting center fielder, is going to be out for the season. McCarthy can't really play out there too well anymore, so I guess I'm going to have to go with Tanner Kraus to fill in for us, which I don't love. We finally get to 500 here in the first week of May at 20-20, but 9 games behind the Braves, who are on fire. Another great year so far from Soto, over a 1.0 OPS as he continues to regress now down to 95 overall. Behind him is our rookie Larry Calhoun. Great to see that, and I do expect big things out of him this year. Big week for us here as we win 5 in a row, including a sweep of Philly to overtake them in the division. Looks like Moses Austin is back on fire here now, pitching well and down to a 3.90 ERA. Unfortunately, Schultz is over 4 now. We need to see more out of him. Surprise, the best player I've found is again another first baseman here, Vaughn Waddell, who's moved up to 10th in the class with great contact. He is probably going to be my first round pick if there's not a better pitcher. Big series for us here, taking on Atlanta. We win game 1, we win game 2, and we complete a sweep, and that puts us tied with them at the top of the leaderboard. Soto and Calhoun continue to play well, Calhoun especially in his rookie season. Paredes is hanging on here. Schultz is on a roll out of nowhere, and his ERA is back down to 3.09 and 7 wins in a row. Middle of June, we're now up to 47-31, and in first place, we've overtaken the Braves. Team is continuing to play well here as we head to the 2032 draft. My board is absolutely loaded with pitchers here, starting pitchers, so probably end up taking quite a few of those in this draft. And in the first round, if I go with the position player, it's either going to be Vaughn Waddell or guaranteed high potential 22-year-old left fielder here, Carmine Vasquez. We pick at 21, and then we don't pick again until 99. So I decided I'm actually not going to take either of these guys. We're pretty loaded at first base, pretty loaded in the outfield right now. I'd rather take this pitcher who moved up the board a lot here, Jim Van Dyke from Virginia. Going to be our first pick. 5 pitches here, lots of control, velo, and break, and should have hopefully a potential. Obviously, a ton of guys have now fallen off the board here. Going into pick 99, I want to go with Buck Melendez, third base project, great defense and speed, not good plate skills, but I don't think I have a high potential third base project or prospect in the system yet. You know, I just realized that I feel like I used to find a lot more two-way players in the drafts. I have not found like any of them lately, and I don't think I've been able to take one in any of my videos yet. And we're not taking one here, spoiler alert. I'm also not taking this closer yet because in the bottom left there, he's injured. Don't love too many of these guys. I think I'm just going to go with this well-rounded Discovery starter here for pick 129, Claudio Blanco. Dope name. I'm going center field prospect here with the next pick, Richard Hamel. Again, another project. Screw it. I'm going to grab this injured closer last round here. He actually got better after I scouted him. Best closer in the class. We'll see how much the injury affects him. Lamont Morales, final pick of the draft. Coming out of the draft here, we got super hot. A lot of victories here. Only a few losses here in July, and we started August with a win. We ended up sweeping the Cubs there. Time to view our draft picks. Let's see what we got here. We only had 5, and looks like we did pretty well overall. I have not been able to get a single A potential starter so far, I believe, and Van Dyke is a little bit disappointing, honestly. 59 overall here. Buck Melendez here, 91 potential, 51 overall. As we saw when I scouted him and mentioned him before, defensive first, third baseman. Pretty good potential, not bad. Claudio Blanco, maybe there's a chance for him someday with 81 potential. It'll just be if that walks per 9 and hits per 9 can get to like 65 or so, which is 50-50. Last 2 picks of the draft were our best 2 picks. Center field project Richard Hamel. His scouted potential just got better and better as I kept scouting him. He projects extremely well. And this closer, who was injured, still came in with 93 potential and 70 overall. 14 top 100 prospects, in fact, and good mix of positions here. A lot of bullpen guys, infield, outfield. Only a few starting pitchers, though. All 3 of them are right here. Lemieux, Vargas, and McKinley. Probably some hope for all 3 of these guys if we need them someday. Unless something interesting pops up here, I'm just going to sim to the end of this season. I'm just anxious to get back to the playoffs here. That is what matters for us at this point, so I will see you probably at the end of the year. 102-60. I felt good about things going into the year. That is probably 5 to 6 games better than I thought would be best case scenario. Offensively, we really rounded into a great team with second here in runs, but look at the Red Sox with Gunnar Henderson, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Stowers. 920 runs. Now, we did beat them out for ERA. Schultz, Wu, and Austin led the way for us here. So Schultz actually beat out Wu by .01 ERA. 202 innings for the kid, some development. This is a great season. This is why I wanted a dominant lefty in the rotation. You can see the results right here. I'm a little bit bummed about Antonio Vasquez. He's all the way up to 87 overall now, which I think is close to his max potential. I can't remember. 183 innings, which is fantastic. 4.32 ERA. Took a step in the wrong direction. Lazar was insane. We'll talk about him in a minute. Hudson and Henriquez were pretty good, and then some of our younger guys, younger relief pitchers, both Brandon Clark and Richard Sable, who came up here. It's going to be a long reliever for us long term. Both pitched very well. Now, I want to check the awards here real quick. Max Lazar, Delivery Man of the Year. And I think we're going to have some more awards. Hank Aaron for the rookie, Larry Calhoun. Needless to say, he also won NL Rookie of the Year and a batting title. Both Wu and Schultz were here, second and third for the Cy Young, losing out to Spencer Strider, which is kind of surprising, but strikeouts weight super heavily for this award in this game. Absolute legend here. Max Lazar, 54-6 this year, and he won his second Delivery Man of the Year. Look at this awards page. 2 Delivery Man of the Year, 81 overall. But even more incredible than that, is the season that we just got out of this rookie, Larry Calhoun. Look at the contact versus righties. Unreal. This is like dream hitting stats. Yeah, you could ask for a little more power, but you don't always need it in this game. He had 36 home runs. He slugged over 600, 1.02 OPS, and check out the WAR. 8.4 WAR. His awards page is already loaded up here just from one season. Look at this guy. Now, we were the 1 seed, and in the top right there, you can see that Philly beat Atlanta. So in the NLDS, we will be taking on the Phillies. Here we go. Phillies, Mets. This should be a really good series. The Phillies were 3rd in the NL East behind us and the Braves, but they won 94 games, so this is not a bad team at all. In fact, it's a good team. Bryan Woo, back-to-back awesome seasons in a Mets jersey. He is our ace and Game 1 starter. The Mets still have Trey Turner, but they also have Corey Seager, Tamar Johnson, a Pirates prospect in real life, Kyle Tucker, Pete Alonso, Wyatt Langford, and they signed Spencer Jones in the offseason. They have a very potent offense. Count's gone full here. It's Kyle Tucker. Bryan Woo delivers, and that is lined up the middle, but Tanner Krause is out there for a reason. His hitting stats still leave a lot to be desired, but his defense and speed does not. Philly starter is Zebby Matthews coming over from the Twins. And now our main character, Juan Soto, at the plate in the 3-hole. He's up to 540 career home runs. Full count pitch is hung. Laser to right, or to first. And Alonso makes the catch. 3-2 here to Paredes. Salinas has hung some breaking balls right over the middle of the plate. Like I said, we need to take advantage of it, and instead it's a walk, bases loaded, nobody out. Greg Whitman, New York shortstop at the plate. He's 1 for 1 today, much better against right-handed pitching. That curveball's hung and lasered into right. Whitman starts the scoring in the DS with a great line drive to the right side. Another one hung down the middle. Gleason this time into right. It's past Tucker, who takes a tumble. This might clear the bases. Coming out for his 6th inning of work, gives up a solo shot, but manages to get out of the inning and limit the damage. Another solo shot for the Phillies here. It's 4-2 as Woo's done his job mostly, but he's now out of the game. We've managed to hold our 5-2 lead, and Lazar is in to try to close this game out. He's already got 1 out here in the top of the 9th. Runner on first. Pete Alonso at the plate. 1-2 pitch. Alonso chases the heater. 1 strike away from the save. Aiden Miller at the plate. Here's the pitch. It is a base hit into right. Bichette on the relay coming home. It's in time. Mets win the game. What an electric way to finish things off here as the boys take Game 1. Noah Schultz versus Chase Burns here in Game 2. I'm simulating this one, and we end up losing 5-3. Heading to Philly for Game 3. We win, and now we've got a chance to close it out with Vasquez on the mound. We're storming into Philadelphia up 2-1 in this series, trying to move further into this postseason. 3-2, Bichette out into right, good contact, back to the track. Tucker tracks it down. Soto! 1-0 Mets. No doubter into right. Second deck. Fastball right down the middle. He's not going to miss that very often. And a laser into right from Escobar. Timing play from Tucker. We've seen this before. Trying to extend our early lead. It's Howie at the plate. 1-2 count. Here's the pitch from Chasez. And Howie. Another no-doubter. Into right. That's gone. The game is now in Antonio Vasquez's hands. Probably about as good of a 4th starter as you're going to get. His ERA was a little high this year because the walk rate was not quite as good as it should be. He should be around 5 or 6%. He's turned into by far our most promising drafted pitcher here throughout this video. 3-2 to Kyle Tucker to start the game. He gets him on a sinker. Right after I record that clip, though, the Phillies have 3 straight singles, and Seager's at the plate with 2 on and 1 out. Vasquez is being tested early here. Needs to step up big. The young pitcher delivers. He strikes out Corey Seager. Cutter in. More work left for Vasquez. Bottom of the 1st. 2-2 pitch. Pete Alonso, swing and a miss. Whitman adds a solo shot. It's 4-1 Metros. We're looking good here early. Pete Alonso's solo shot here. Vasquez had been pretty good so far. Manages to get a double play and get out of it. It's 4-2 right now as we get into the top of the 5th. We were looking pretty good to take this one home, but now there's 2 on, nobody out for Corey Seager. Our lefty Brian Hudson in. This is a big spot for him. We gave him a 3-year deal a few seasons back. Back-to-back really good years in the setup role for him here, and he strikes out Seager. That is 1. Who does Coach turn to here as he walks off the mound? And who is coming in? It's Ronnie Henriquez. Lazar and Clark in the pen. Henriquez draws a right-on-right matchup here with Pete Alonso. This is such a big moment in the game. He struck him out on a splitter. Henriquez Delivers, grounded third base. Paredes over to second. We're out of it. Max Lazar takes the mound. Closer for the Mets for so long now. Edman, grounder into the shift. Whitman, that's one. Spencer Jones, final boss of the series. One strike away. 2-out pitch. He blew it by him. Lazar closes it out. Phillies are eliminated and the Mets moving on to the championship series. And our matchup this time is going to be LA. This should get interesting. Wu and Sasaki match up here for game 1. I feel like we saw this matchup before. I'm going to simulate this one and we win it 4-2. Good start to the series. Game 2 should be interesting as it is Noah Schultz taking on Yamamoto. Dodgers did win the West, but with their 97 wins to our 102, we've got home field advantage in this series as well. Noah Schultz did not have a great first postseason start. He looks like he got a little unlucky and maybe gave up a big home run. Schultz already struck out a Rise. That's tough enough to do, and now the 1-2 here to Kwan. He strikes him out. What a start. This should be a challenge. Yamamoto takes the mound for the Dodgers. He is always nasty in franchise. Marquee pitching matchup here in New York. Bichette leads off the game with a single down the left field line. If we're going to get Bichette in here after that leadoff double, it'll be up to one. Escobar. Count is even. 2-2. Bottom of the first. 2 outs. He strikes out. Great pitch. Not able to get a good swing at the right time there. Bichette is stranded on second as Schultz gives up the first run of the game. The Dodgers take an early lead. Not the most formidable hitter at the plate here, Tanner Krause. He does have 60 contact against righties, though. Can he get something through the hole here? That might be an error. He's too fast for that. He's going to be safe at first. 18.7 miles an hour, like a track athlete, leaning his head over the line there in the 100-meter dash. That is a pretty big hit there from Krause because it turns the lineup over. Bichette gets an at-bat with the bases loaded. Lines one into left, get down. It does. Kwan not able to get there. Throw home is offline for a very good defender. It's 3-1 Mets. That is insane that Krause was able to score from first there. Incredible speed. Both bullpens are activated now, and I do have to give the edge to the Dodgers. Ronnie Henriquez is relieved for Brian Hudson, and he gives up a run. It's 4-3. Dodgers go with Jack Dreyer here for the top of the lineup. Calhoun with the walk. Soto with a 2-run homer. It's 6-3. A little bit of a chink in the armor here for Max Lazar, the ever-steady closer for the Mets. Not really a guy I want to see here right now. Luis Arraez at the plate. 3-1 pitch. Ground ball, shortstop, Whitman. Good arm, throws to first, Mets win. We are in great position now, up 2-0 in this series on the right side of the bracket, and on the left side of the AL, I have very good news. Seattle managed to take down Boston. Heading into LA, Moses takes the hill. For game 3, I simulated, and we win 14-5. And I'm just going to keep going here. Game 5, Wu versus Corbin Burns getting a start, and we win it, taking home the NLCS, and I believe for the first time, we're headed to the World Series. The Dodgers team is not quite as good as they were earlier in this video, as some of their stars have aged. There was no Shohei, notably, on the team here, and it looks like we'll be taking on Houston. Did not know anything about the Astros, but I'm getting up to speed here very quickly. They've got Walker Jenkins in center field here, who is absolutely disgusting, looks incredible, and they've got Yordan, my favorite hitter in the game, still out there. I would say the biggest strength of this team is the starting rotation. Shane McClanahan here is their ace. Right behind him is Christopher Sanchez, who is always nasty in this roster, which I'll put in the description. That's enough setting things up here. It's the 2032 World Series, and the Mets face the Astros. Astros won 92 games. We won 102, and again, we have home field advantage. Brian Wu, game 1 starter. Look at this. 19, almost 20 innings pitched with a sub-2 ERA. He has led the way for the Metros. 1-2 to Horner. Starting the game with a strikeout slider outside part of the plate. The World Series has begun. Chad Richard is in the 2-hole, and he strikes out back-to-back for Wu. Very scary sight. Yordan Alvarez in the 3-hole, and he also strikes out. Wu strikes out the side to start the Fall Classic. Ace is doing ace things. Speaking of aces, McClanahan takes the hill for the Astros. Elite velo for Shane. Very, very good changeup. Slider, curveball on top of that. Bichette leading off the game. Lines one up the left field line. Is that fair? Looks like it. Juan Escobar started as a strong side platoon, but he's rounded out against lefties, although he's going to ground to short. That might be a double play. Horner over to first. It is. Paredes now with 2 outs here. Lines one into left. We will take the lead. I feel like we've done a really good job of striking early throughout this postseason, and I think that's been a big key to our success so far. Not much happening at all. Both starters are now dominating this game. Wu and McClanahan going back and forth, although McClanahan is finally out of the game. Wu has been pretty efficient today, but he is in a jam right here. Runners on the corners with nobody out. There's one. Walker Jenkins down swinging. He's not happy about it. One more out to get. Xavier Nyans. Wu just 1 strike away from getting out of it. He does it. What a pitch. What a moment for Wu. And that will do it. Great performance. Hopefully the bullpen doesn't blow this. First man up is Brian Hudson. I've got some faith in him. Has not given up a run in 5 innings in the postseason. Horner. 1-2. Hudson. Got him. Big moment in this game. 1-0 Mets. That means we will carry a lead into the bottom of the 9th no matter what happens here. As a solo shot from Calhoun doubles the lead, we've got insurance. Max Lazar, top of the 9th here. Does have to face off against Yordan Alvarez. He gets him. 2 down. And Walker Jenkins is going to get the Astros on the board with a bomb way out of here in the right. Let's not make this any more difficult than it needs to be here. That's a walk to Alvarez. Go-ahead run comes to the plate for Houston. 1-2. Got him. Game 1 goes to the Mets. So we take down McClanahan in Game 1. Going to Game 2, it's Schultz versus Christopher Sanchez. We win that one 8-7. And I'm simulating Game 3. Moses Austin versus Jason Beach. And here we go. We take the loss. Game 4, it's Vasquez and Bradish. And we win. We're up 3-1 in the World Series. And that means for Game 5, we've got a chance at a title here. We're going to have a lot of chances at a title, actually. We are in Houston. It's going to be Wu and McClanahan. Once again, that trophy in the middle could be ours. We managed to take down the southpaw McClanahan in Game 1. Can we do it again here in Game 5? Bichette leads off the game with a flyout into right center. We were not able to get on the board here in the first as Brian Wu takes the mound, and he also shuts down Houston. He's been insane in the postseason for us. He does give up a run here in the second as the Astros strike first. Count's gone all the way to full here. You can feel the tension in the building here as the Astros' backs are against the wall. Wu delivers. He got him. Yordan way out in front, and that was off the plate. Biggest spot of Henry Matsui's career. Young prospect of ours, drafted him, I believe, in the same class as Whitman. Liner just foul up the right side. So with 1 out and 2 on, here's a 2-2 pitch from McClanahan. That's a ground ball. Is it going to be another double play? Horner over to first. God damn it. Doesn't really seem like our day just yet. We have not been able to support Brian Wu at all, although the Astros do finally go to their bullpen, and Gleason ties it up, the catcher. Hader is quickly pulled as we've got 2 on after that home run. So he'll see another 1-2 pitch. Grounded through the right side. Base hit. We might have a play at the plate. Throw home is not in time. It's 2-1. Our protagonist comes up big in a clinching game. You wouldn't want it any other way. Hudson back again. He's still not given up a run through 7 2/3 in the playoffs. Horner, the tying run with a lot of speed on first. Go-ahead run is at the plate. Throw down. We got him. And that is exactly why defense is so important behind the plate. Gleason shows off the arm. With a 1-run lead, 2-time reliever of the year, and icon Max Lazar coming in. And he will have to face the meat of the Astros order 2-3-4 due up. With Yordan on deck, I know Lazar's heart is beating fast right now. He's been in some big spots before, but nothing quite like this, and he walks the leadoff batter. Here comes Alvarez. This is the absolute last guy that I want to see right now. Lazar does have him in a 1-2 hole. Here's the pitch. He got him. 1 out. Walker Jenkins is also a guy I definitely don't want to see here. He's 2 for 3 today. A 1-2 pitch from Lazar. He struck him out too. Max Lazar, you are 1 out away from getting the Mets a world championship. Former Met Alvarez at the plate. Gleason calls the pitch. 2 outs. Bottom 9. 2-2 pitch. He got him. Mets win the World Series. The team celebrates. 2032 World Series champions. We finally got it done. The Kingpin falls to his knees. Jake McCarthy gets in late in the game, and he's kind of showing off in front of his former team here. And we've gotten it done. 7 years, there we go. That was a very fun rebuild. I really enjoyed this one. I like the one-man onlys. Like I said, give it a shot. That roster is in the vault. Was happy to deliver for the Mets fans here. I know it's been kind of a tough offseason for you. Soto hung on a lot longer than I thought here. This was season 7 of this video. Obviously regressing pretty rapidly now, but he was still 92 overall. Big part of the team. He did get himself an MVP last year and just really stacked up the awards page throughout this video. Absolutely clutch that we were able to get a generational talent when we jumped up. I think it was from the 8th pick to the 2nd pick, and we managed to get Juan Escobar, which is insane. I will say he didn't really break out all the way in this video, but he was only up for 3 seasons and was definitely a big contributor. The guy who really put us over the edge, in my opinion, is Larry Calhoun. Came up just this season, 155 games. We talked about him a lot. Over 1 OPS, he was pretty good in the playoffs too. Speaking of which, let me take a look at the awards. And there you go. World Series MVP is Larry Calhoun. Playoff MVP is Hungry Howie Dennison. I really hope you enjoyed this rebuild as much as I did. If you made it all the way to the end here, thank you so much. Drop a comment below, and I want to know what you want to see next. I've got a bunch of ideas, but I'm always interested in your feedback. Thank you for the support. Take care, and peace.